立法會主席。
The President. Members, officials, good morning. The Huanggang Port Redevelopment Project is a key initiative of the HKSAR government in integrating into the country's development. It is also a major infrastructure project that the public has great expectations about. The new port will be a major round-the-clock passenger boundary control point between Hong Kong and the mainland. It will also make use of the collaborative inspection and joint clearance model to provide more efficient clearance services for the public. On Wednesday this week, the administration introduced the bill into the council for first reading, and the council has decided, in accordance with the rules of procedure, to have the House Committee scrutinize the relevant bill. After 4 hours of in-depth discussions on policy and legislative matters, the Council has completed scrutiny of the bill. I agree with what the Secretary for Security said, to complete the relevant legislative work as soon as possible to lay the legal foundations for the preparatory work of the commissioning of the port, so that the Huanggang port can be commissioned as early as possible to benefit the public. For the aforesaid reasons, I decided that we should have another council meeting session to complete the legislative procedures of the bill. This shows the amicable interactions between the executive and the legislature. I am confident that LegCo members will complete the relevant discussions in a high-quality manner to mark a milestone in the Greater Bay Area. This council now resumes the second reading debate on the Huanggang Port Hong Kong Port Area Bill. Members who wish to speak, please press the Request to Speak button. Mr. Chen Chen-ying, the chairman of the House Committee, will first address the Council on the House Committee's report. Mr. Chen Chen-ying. President, as chairman of the House Committee, I would like to report to the LegCo on the salient points of the House Committee's deliberations on the Huanggang Port Hong Kong Port Area Bill. The bill aims to implement the relevant authorization from the central authorities and provide a legal basis for the implementation of the co-location arrangement at the redeveloped Hong Kong port. The main provisions of the bill include declaring certain areas at the Hong Kong port in the Chinese mainland as the Hong Kong port area, 2. Applying the laws of Hong Kong to the Hong Kong port area and providing for the jurisdiction of Hong Kong courts in this regard, 3. Extending the territorial limit of certain rights and obligations to include the Hong Kong port area, and 4. Making supplementary provisions to facilitate the interpretation of certain future documents and court orders. The bill underwent its first reading at the LegCo meeting on 15th of July. In view of the tight legislative timetable, the House Committee immediately convened a special meeting on 16th of July to consider the arrangements for the scrutiny of the bill and decided that the House Committee would be responsible for scrutinizing the bill. The House Committee held a 4-hour meeting with the administration to scrutinize the bill in detail. Members raised nearly 120 comments and questions on policy matters relating to the bill and 6 pieces of related proposed subsidiary legislation, as well as legal and drafting issues covering matters such as the boundaries of the Hong Kong port area, preparatory work, and a timetable for the official opening of the Huanggang port, the clearance procedures at the port, contingency arrangements, transport facilities, and mobile radio communication services, amongst other measures, to ensure that the bill would provide the necessary legal basis for the operation of the Hong Kong port area and that the various proposed operational arrangements would effectively enhance clearance efficiency. The House Committee supports the bill with a view to implementing the co-location arrangement at the Huanggang port as soon as possible. Members noted that the co-location arrangement at the Shenzhen Bay Port had been operating effectively since its launch in 2007 and served as a successful model worth emulating. The bill was also modeled on the Shenzhen Bay Port Hong Kong Port Area Ordinance Chapter 591, and the structure of the two was broadly similar. Given that the redeveloped Huanggang port will be the most important 24-hour land passenger port between Hong Kong and Shenzhen, members were particularly concerned as to whether the transport links to the Huanggang port would be sufficient to meet the travel needs of passengers from both sides, and recommended that the authorities in future, in light of the operational situation at the Huanggang port, increase public transportation routes to and from the Hong Kong port in a timely manner. Members also requested that the authorities put in place appropriate measures to manage passenger and vehicle flows at the Huanggang port so as to avoid congestion during peak periods, which could affect clearance efficiency. Members noted that under the collaborative inspection and joint clearance model, the data on travelers' travel documents, facial features, and fingerprints collected via automated channels would, with the traveler's consent, be transmitted to the receiving authority for immigration clearance purposes. Members requested that the administration clarify that the data transmitted via these automated channels would be limited to that for which the relevant travelers had given explicit consent, and whether such data would be transmitted via a closed network to ensure the security of travelers' personal data. The administration confirmed that the system would only transmit specified data, namely travel documents, facial, and fingerprint data, to the immigration authorities of the destination side where the passenger had given their explicit consent. The immigration authorities of both places would only cross-check the collected data against their respective databases. There would be no mutual sharing of databases or inspection results. All data would be transmitted via a closed system to ensure data security. To enhance clearance experience for travelers, members hope that the administration would consult with the mainland authorities to allow children and their accompanying family members to use the collaborative inspection automated channels. Some members pointed out that Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge Hong Kong Boundary Control Point had already established the territory's first pilot scheme for contactless clearance, and inquired whether the design of the Hong Kong port was compatible with a contactless clearance model. Members hope that the government would actively discuss with mainland authorities the feasibility of implementing the contactless clearance model at the Huanggang port. Regarding preparatory work prior to the opening of the Huanggang port, members urged the administration to formulate sound and comprehensive contingency arrangements and collaborate with relevant mainland authorities to ensure that any emergencies could be dealt with effectively. The administration confirmed that it has signed an administrative agreement with the mainland authorities and would draw up contingency arrangements based on a rescue first approach. The administration is also urged to draw on the experience gained from preparations for the opening of the Kai Tak Sports Park by inviting civil servants and members of the public to participate in drills to gain valuable experience. Members noted that due to geographical constraints, mobile communication services at the Huanggang port, including the Hong Kong port area, would be provided by mobile network operators authorized by mainland authorities. Members requested that the administration put up clear notices in the port building to prevent disputes over charges arising from the use of mobile data roaming services. The administration stated that to enable the public to access internet services smoothly and efficiently, it would provide free public Wi-Fi coverage in the port building, including the public transport interchange. The administration also undertook to step up publicity prior to the official opening of the Huanggang port to remind members of the public of the arrangements for mobile communication services and the free Wi-Fi provided. Members also held detailed discussions on the legal and drafting matters relating to the bill, including the legal effect of the preamble, the scope of the term-related extended areas, the impact of the bill on existing and future responsibilities and obligations. Members also raised concerns whether the boundaries of the Hong Kong port area delineated in Schedule 1 to the bill were consistent with the authorization granted by the central authorities. The administration has confirmed that they are. The House Committee has completed its scrutiny of the bill. Neither the House Committee nor the administration will propose any amendments to the bill. President, following on my views on the bill, we want to make sure to have more in-depth connectivity, and the Huanggang port is key to the city's 5-year plan. It is also key to the integrated development of the Greater Bay Area. We are entering the final stage of the development of the Huanggang port building, and it will be the largest round-the-clock passenger land-based boundary control point. It will also be a transportation hub that can provide a better clearance experience for citizens. We have frequent flows of people between Hong Kong and Shenzhen. We have already over 1.25 million vehicles going to the mainland under the northbound travel for Hong Kong vehicles arrangement. With our existing capacity, it will not be able to satisfy such a great demand. The redevelopment of the Huanggang port for the purpose and in response to the flows of people is definitely necessary. With the authorization of the central authorities and the great expectations from the public, we should expedite our works for the legislative work of the new Huanggang port. So what is new about the Huanggang port? We have the collaborative inspection and joint clearance model that would only require people to queue once and have their data collected once. The clearance time would greatly reduce from half an hour to 5 minutes. And with the new Shenzhen Bay port, they have the passenger building and vehicle clearance building being separated. For the new Huanggang port, it will be all in the same building. With the West Kowloon district, they do practice co-location arrangement, but there are two different jurisdictions. With the new Huanggang port, it will be under full jurisdiction of Hong Kong SAR. This is a new jurisdictional model. So these three new initiatives are very important, and we will be able to be successful only if we make clear the jurisdictions and application of laws, as well as promulgate the relevant data sharing standards. The bill also talks about for communication services movement of currency vehicle registration in the form of 6 pieces of proposed subsidiary legislation for the detailed operations of the port. We have great expectations. Now, about clearance efficiency, can we really realize the vision of having clearance time being just 5 minutes? Can we really enhance efficiency with the automated channels? But people who have traveled frequently between Hong Kong and Shenzhen should know during peak periods, what takes long is luggage inspection. With the enhancement of clearance efficiency, it will enhance attractiveness of the port. But if people rush to the port, seeing it is potentially more efficient, it may actually cause an even longer waiting time. We already have some waiting time displays, but it does not distinguish between passenger and vehicle waiting times. I hope that we can make clear of the different times to create a diversion plan for the people. Many citizens and visitors make use of public transportation, but in the vicinity of the Huanggang port, the Northern Link project will only be completed in 2034. We will only rely mainly on buses for transportation connections to the Huanggang port. This is similar to what is happening at the Huanggang boundary control point, but many citizens have conveyed that it could be quite uncomfortable because it would be quite hot with all the exhaust. We need to make sure there is proper ventilation at the new Huanggang port to enhance comfort of travelers. With the new Huanggang port, it also plays an important role in being a backup port for emergency rescue. So the new Huanggang port can divert flow of vehicles should there be congestion or closure of the Shenzhen Bay port or other ports due to traffic accidents or adverse weather conditions. The Huanggang port can immediately take up the higher vehicle flow. I want the administration to make sure they have plans for the contingency positioning of the port and make sure they are prepared. The Huanggang port is an important vessel of Hong Kong's integration into the country's development. The people have great expectations for the commissioning of the port. I urge the administration to expedite the construction of the port and commission the port as early on as possible. I so submit. Thank you, President. Mr. Lau Kaka, thank you, President. The new Huanggang port is the largest land-based boundary control point in the world. It is a key initiative, a major development project of the Hong Kong SAR government. It is also a project that the public has great expectations about to implement the relevant authorization of the central authorities. The administration promulgated the relevant bill to provide a legal basis for the implementation of a co-location arrangement. The administration has referred to the effective practices of the Shenzhen Bay port. I think the administration has taken a pragmatic approach in terms of the legislative proposals. The new port is not only a major upgrade of cross-boundary infrastructure, it will also help Hong Kong integrate into the country's development better. It is a key milestone for the integrated development of the Greater Bay Area. I fully support the bill. I have some observations on the bill. With the innovative clearance model, the Huanggang port will maintain round-the-clock operations, and the design capacity is 200,000 people per day. With the commissioning of the Northern Link spur line, it can go up to 300,000 people. The most important breakthrough is the implementation of the collaborative inspection and joint clearance model. Before, people would have to queue twice and get out of their cars twice. Even for the high-speed rail station, people have to go through 2 checkpoints. With the new port, the 2 sites facilities will be combined, so people would only have to queue once and have their ID checked once. Before, it would take 30 minutes to complete the clearance process. Now it will only take 5 minutes. For different groups, students, business travelers, general travelers, clearance efficiency would be greatly enhanced. So we can truly have a 30-minute living circle that should greatly enhance the satisfaction of the people. The Huanggang port will also play the key role of a bridge for integration of the Greater Bay Area. The new port is in the vicinity of Futian as well as the Shenton Technopole and the INT Park. It will be connected to 5 railway lines in future. With comprehensive transportation arrangements, there are great connectivity to promote the flow of people and INT resources between the 2 sites. It will really help with the development of the Northern Metropolis and the Greater Bay Area in general. I believe the new port will provide with the younger generation great opportunities of development in the INT sector. We need to make sure we do adequate drills and tests to ensure the smooth operations of the port. With this bill coming into effect, we have the foundations for conducting different tests and emergency drills. I hope that the tests completed early on, and on the premise of safe and smooth operations, we hope for this early commissioning of the port, and I think the members of the public also think this, wanting a more convenient experience. I would like to thank the central authorities for their support as well as the SAR government for their efforts. We can hopefully successfully implement the innovative model at the new Huanggang port and extend arrangements to other ports so that more citizens and visitors can benefit from the better clearance services and enhance integration of the Greater Bay Area, create greater impetus for growth in the area, and facilitate Hong Kong's integration into the country. As I was speaking in support of the bill.
Ms. Christine Fong, Madam President, I rise to speak in support of the Hong Kong Port Area Bill. The implementation of this bill is predicated on very sound legal backing. The Hong Kong SL government has got the authorization of the State Council to exercise jurisdiction in the Hong Kong port area. And this is another new achievement under the one country, two systems. This is a manifestation of the mainland's trust and confidence in Hong Kong SAR. As the 1 hour living circle in the GBA is becoming a reality, the Huanggang port is going to be the only 124 passenger land BCP. Is implementation of co-location is really the way to go, and this will facilitate the access of people between the two places. This will also open up an artery for the integration between Hong Kong and Shenzhen. This is not just an upgrade of hardware. The two places are also collaborating and cooperating in a very close manner. With more travel between the two places, we would expect that in terms of the cross-boundary rescue operation, there would be more cooperation. There would be a full integration. We should have exceptional arrangement in terms of rescue operations. To enhance the advantages of this Huanggang port, we must face the challenges of traffic and transport. With the commissioning of the Huanggang port in 2034, we will see the Northern Link to disperse 300,000 passengers. The land transport simply will not be able to cope with such a huge volume of passengers. We hope that the Northern Link spur line will be coming on stream as soon as possible. The Lok Ma Chau spur line, and in particular the Lok Ma Chau area, we should have the bottleneck resolved. The rail development should be speeded up so that the new port can be integrated fully. Also, the land transport, the bus services are also important. I learned that there are 4 franchise bus routes on the drawing board. There is none serving Jiang Guan'ou and Sai Kung. At the moment, we have 500,000 people in Sai Kung and Jiang Guan'ou. I hope that the government will be reviewing the land public transport to provide more and better, more convenient bus services. With the commissioning of the Huanggang port, there will be a lot of advantages. Now, we had 2 checkpoints before. People will have get on and off the transport. Now we have the collaborative inspection and joint clearance. People will find it so much more convenient, and the clearance time will be shortened. And this will stimulate economy. This will also shorten the distance between the two places. Madam President, I fully support the enactment of this bill, and I hope that the government would put in place all the arrangement so that this project can be operational as soon as possible. Thank you. Ms. Carmen Khan. Madam President, I rise to speak in support of the enactment of the Huanggang Port, Hong Kong Port Area Bill. How urgent, how necessary is this bill? In the preamble, it is made very clear, and this is intended to enhance the connectivity of the infrastructure between the two places to facilitate the people flow and economic activities and the development of the GBA, and also to support Hong Kong to better integrate and serve the overall development of our country. Now, this is in the preamble, and this is very important. Normally, it would explain the ins and outs of the bill to facilitate understanding. The preamble says that on the 26th of June 2026, the NPCSC has taken the decision to designate the Hong Kong port area and extended area, and this will be up to the 30th of June 2047. The State Council on the 8th of July issued an official reply stipulating the area of Hong Kong PA. This will be commissioned on the 31st of July 2026. This doesn't mean that it is officially opened. According to the official reply of the State Council, the official opening date would be something to be determined by the two governments. We will be practicing co-location there, and this is also the first BCP practicing collaborative inspection joint clearance. I go along with the Secretary that in order to give full play to this authorization, we have the obligation to complete the local legislation before the 31st of July. The House Committee convened the special committee and got on with 4-hour scrutiny of the bill. I'm going to talk about 3 areas of the bill. First, the full jurisdiction. In the second reading, the Secretary said that there will be full jurisdiction. Hong Kong law will be fully applicable in the Hong Kong port area. It is akin to the Shenzhen Bay port, and there are no reservations. And the full jurisdiction, it is not entered into the bill. However, in the House Committee, in response to my question, this concept has been clarified. In the bill, it provides that there is a clear delineation of the jurisdiction of Hong Kong court. Now, in emergency, the priority will be given to saving people first. Second, the declaration of the Hong Kong port area. Clause 3 refers to the area in Schedule 1 to be the Hong Kong port area. The port building is multi-story. It is also part of the collaborative inspection and joint clearance. In Schedule 1, there are coordinates, and the floor plan of the port building in Schedule 1, it is exactly the same as that in the official reply of the State Council. Now, as to the expiry of 30th of June 2047, according to the preamble, Hong Kong gets the port area usage through a lease. And this can be extended by the NPCSC. In response to my question regarding Clause 14.2, the Secretary said in reply that the state leaders have repeatedly emphasized the one country, two systems. It is a good system. There is no reason to change it. We have to adhere to that steadfastly. And Clause 14 provides that the Secretary for Security publication against is not the subsidiary legislation. The similar provision is not in the Shenzhen Bay Port Bill. The administration said that the legislative intention is the same, and this is not part of the subsidiary legislation. Third, the subsidiary legislation arrangement. I'm grateful to the administration that a copy has been appended from E1 to E6 for members' reference. This enables us to understand the subsidiary legislation, and this will also come into effect on the 31st of July. The administration said that they will be presenting the sub-leg to the LegCo for negative vetting. Madam President, I've been advocating the infrastructure connectivity, that there should be more interchanges between the two places. With the concerted effort of LegCo, I hope that the two administrations will give full play to the central authorities' authorization and get this up and running as soon as possible.
Mr. Stanley. President, the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress delegated the power to run the Hong Kong port area to the Hong Kong SAR government. The government submitted this bill swiftly to LegCo. The House Committee of the Legislative Council also completed the scrutiny with efficiency. On behalf of the FTU, I welcome this. I also fully support the bill. This bill provides a clear and solid legal basis for the port area's future operation. This shows the trust of the central authorities in Hong Kong. It is also a milestone in the coordinated development of Hong Kong and the mainland. The new port will make life easier for people. It is also of strategic importance. The new Huanggang port will be implementing the collaborative inspection and joint clearance approach. There will be 184 clearance channels and 68 manned counters. The customs clearance time will be shortened from 30 minutes to 5 minutes. The daily volume of passengers or travelers will be 200,000 travelers. At its peak, it will be 300,000 travelers per day. So you queue once and you clear 2 counters. For residents traveling between the 2 places, business travel, there will be unprecedented convenience. The commissioning of the new port is also a crucial part in the connectivity of infrastructure between the mainland and Hong Kong. This is also crucial for our integration into the Greater Bay Area and national development. The redeveloped Huanggang port will support the cross-boundary transport pattern of east in, east out, west in, west out. It will facilitate the flow of resources involving materials and capital between the mainland and Hong Kong. It's an innovation in cross-boundary connectivity. It's also a demonstration of Hong Kong as enjoying our country supporting global connections. And this will also bring fresh impetus for the GBA development. The National Immigration Administration also fully supports this new clearance approach. The redeveloped Huanggang port will come with smart check-in devices. It will take a methodical approach to arranging the crowd. So there will just be a single check, and there will also be new quarantine, customs, immigration quarantine arrangements. This will mean greater efficiency in cross-boundary travel. Residents traveling between Hong Kong and the mainland will find the journey easier. It sets a new model. These steps show that the government of Hong Kong and the mainland put people first, and they collaborate in pragmatic ways to achieve greater efficiency. Now, on the future operations of the Huanggang port after redevelopment, that part also matters. The governments of the 2 places need to work together. I'm a elected member and an NPC delegate. In that capacity, I will closely follow up on the development of the port, training of the staff, and also the interface of systems to make sure the smooth delivery of the project. And then service can be delivered to high standards, and we can achieve contactless clearance soon. Back in the 1950s, cross-boundary travel was contactless. There was no let or hindrance when people flow in either direction. Under one country, 2 systems, we have new technology and new devices. We should travel in that direction, that is, contactless clearance. The new Huanggang port is something that people from both Hong Kong and the mainland look forward to. With the support of the government, the new port area will offer swift and easy cross-boundary travel. The House Committee scrutinized the bill swiftly. The FTU fully supports the passage of the bill as so submitted. Mr. Kenneth Lau. President, with the full support of the Central People's Government, on the 26th of June, the Standing Committee of the NPC authorized the HKSCR to exercise jurisdiction over the Hong Kong port area and the related extended area of the Huanggang port. On the 8th of July, the State Council issued an official reply stipulating the area of the Hong Kong port area and also agreeing to the commissioning of the Hong Kong port area on the 31st of July this year. The area will be run under Hong Kong SAR's laws. The actual open date will be agreed upon by the Guangdong province and the HKSCR government. We have to enact local legislation to provide the complete legal basis for co-location at the port area. I'm grateful for the government's efficiency in preparing the Huanggang Port, Hong Kong Port Area Bill. The government has been explaining the bill to us over the days. At the House Committee meeting yesterday, members delved into the bill's provisions so that we can resume the second reading today. And that's how we implement this direction or direct instruction of enacting legislation soon, and that we're also responding to the keen public expectations for the soon early passage of the bill. The bill is relatively straightforward. So we adopt the same practice for Shenzhen Bay. The structure of the bill here is similar to what came before. There are no contentious provisions. So just like the Shenzhen Bay port, the new Huanggang port will adopt a full jurisdictional approach. So Hong Kong laws apply in the Hong Kong port area and the mainland laws apply to the mainland port. That practice has been around for 2 decades in Shenzhen Bay. It's tried and tested. It has not been subject to any legal challenge. So in constitutional, legal, and operational terms, this approach is safe. The successful experience will also apply to the Huanggang port. Since the opening of the Huanggang port, this has been the only land port offering 24/7 access. In the early days of the Huanggang port, the areas surrounding the port were under development, so the Huanggang port has been like a beacon, bearing testimony to the economic development of Hong Kong and Shenzhen. It also points to the way home for the residents in the area. Now, Futian district, where the port sits, is now a hub, a business hub. Now, given the development in Guangdong and Hong Kong, there are more and more frequent exchanges between Hong Kong and the mainland. Now, with the old Huanggang port, there are buildings, but those buildings and structures can no longer keep up with the times. There is a need to fully enhance the setup. The redeveloped port will be the most vital, round-the-clock land port for passenger travel, and it will also adopt collaborative inspection and joint clearance for the first time. It will have gate set up requiring travelers to queue once to clear all their procedures. The procedure used to take 30 minutes. In the future, it will take 5 minutes. The daily passenger volume will go up from 50,000 travelers to 200,000 travelers. This will be a keynote in the development of Hong Kong and Shenzhen. We must stress that the government is now driving the Northern Metropolis development. There's the Hong Kong Park in the Hetao, and there's also the Sandton Technoport. Those 2 parks will be the 2 INT nodes in the NM. The Northern Link spur line connecting the 2 tech parks will be completed for commissioning only in 2034. I hope the government can closely monitor the project so to make sure the project is delivered on time, so that we have the rail link for the new Huanggang port, so that the movement in the tech clusters can be done within 30 minutes. We should strive for the early commissioning of the new Huanggang port, and then we run tests for the public transport, and we should do drills, and we should get the contingency plan right, so that the port can open soon. This will make life much easier for people. This will facilitate the flow of materials, information, and capital. This can also promote infrastructure development and also alignment of rules. This will bring greater efficiency in the travel between the people from both sides. I so submit and support the bill.
Ms. Maggie Chen. President, I speak in support of the passing of the Huanggang Port Hong Kong Port Area Bill. The new Huanggang Port has transitioned from a single port before to a multi-dimensional transportation hub now. It really showcases how we have made a breakthrough with the in-depth integration between Hong Kong and Shenzhen and promoting better convenience for the people in Hong Kong as well as the high quality development of the Greater Bay Area. From when we had the authorization of the central authorities to the reply given by the State Council to what we have here today, they are all interlinked. There are constitutional and legal foundations showcasing the central authorities' support and commitment to one country, two systems, trust placed in the HKSAR government as well as the effectiveness of the operations of high degree of autonomy. With the new Huanggang port, it will be greatly beneficial to the people as well as it will implement the co-location arrangement as well as a collaborative inspection and joint clearance model. Basically, clearance procedures on the two sides will be combined and people would only have to queue once, or for those in cars or vehicles, they only have to get off once to complete the clearance procedures. It will greatly enhance clearance efficiency. It will also greatly enhance capacity of the port. What's worth noting is with the commissioning of the new port, the existing Lok Ma Chau control point will be demolished, releasing 20 hectares of land for the development of the Santin Technopole. It provides valuable land resource for development of innovation and technology as well as the northern metropolis. The new Huanggang port is located in a strategic location close to the tech developments. It showcases the central authority's support for the development of INT sector in Hong Kong. It also creates new potential for the economy of Hong Kong. President, in June of this year, I attended a meeting of National People's Congress Standing Committee, and I actually heard about the developments and the discussions surrounding the Huanggang port. It really shows the care of the country for us. The new Huanggang port has much work to be done, and the matters are indeed pressing. The administration is taking forward different aspects of work in an orderly manner. I appreciate that. I urge the administration to take note of 2 points, however. For the new Huanggang port, each floor has its clear role. It occupies a vast area. We have multidimensional aspects for safety measures as well as transportation and telecommunications facilities. I hope the administration will have regard to the actual needs of different groups, elderly persons, persons with disabilities, as well as parents that have friends with them, to make sure to have clear directions at the facilities, especially with the font. Elderly persons often need words to be presented in a bigger font. There should also be barrier-free facilities and adequate personnel to ensure an efficient clearance experience for travelers. I also pay attention to the number of bathrooms available. Often I saw there were long queues at female toilets, but I know at the Hong Kong port for the the first to the fifth floors. We have 63 male stalls and 144 female toilet stalls. We have a ratio of female stalls to male stalls to over 2.2 to 1. I believe that will greatly shorten waiting time. I think it is good news for females. I hope in future we will have other enhancements made to public bathroom facilities. I think the bill is greatly beneficial to the people. I hope the Huanggang port can be commissioned as early as possible so that people from the two sides can benefit from the more convenient clearance experience. I also speaking in support of the bill. Mr. Yu Ming, thank you. I speak in support of the bill as we start implementing the country's 15 5-year plan, and with the full speed development of the Greater Bay Area, we're now entering a critical stage of integrated development of the Greater Bay Area. Huanggang Port, as a round-the-clock land-based control point, will see the transportation of many, and this is indeed a forward-looking project. With the project entering its final and key stage, it is important that we implement the project in an expedited manner. We have different automated channels, traditional and manual counters, as well as the 5-party inspection channels. It is a major infrastructure. The design capacity is 200,000 people. With the commissioning of the Northern Link spur line, it will go up to 300,000 people. With such a large scale, it really shows the central authorities' great importance attached to the project. I hope with the redevelopment, the Huanggang Port potential capacity can be tapped into to provide more options for northbound travel for Hong Kong vehicles arrangement. The National 15 5-year plan explicitly sets out that the government should expedite the construction of the Northern Metropolis, and the administration will include the development of Northern Metropolis in its first 5-year plan. We need to have in mind in future connectivity and integrated development of education and innovation and technology. Northern Metropolis is not just about developing industries, it is also to be an international hub for high caliber talents. We will work with top-notch academic institutions in the mainland and overseas in future with the Northern Metropolis University Town. If we have efficient clearance at the new Huanggang Port, it can really help promote frontier technology such as AI, biotech, and new energy, and in-depth integration of the research sector, the academia, and the industries. But there are still some issues to iron out. I urge the administration to take care of those. First, transportation connections with the North District. While the new Huanggang Port is in close proximity to the North District, there is no direct transportation connectivity at the moment with the North District. I worked with the DAB New Territories North team to conduct a survey earlier. We have collected 822 responses. Over 80% of the respondents hope to have more daytime bus services for those living in Shenshui, Fanling, Shuttlecock, etc. The new Huanggang Port is the closest port to them, yet they do not have direct connections to the port. For those living in the North District, they often need to make multiple transfers. I think with this, we're not leveraging on the advantage of the close proximity of the North District to the new Huanggang Port. For the Gold Bus that goes to Santin Interchange, they will not start from the new territories. They will start from urban areas. So those in the new territories may not be able to get on the bus. For private cars, we have only about 500 parking spaces left in Santin. There is no car park at the new Huanggang Port either. People would have to make transfers. I think with the existing arrangements, it may not be enough to deal with the 200,000 or 300,000 capacity of the Huanggang Port. I think for N73 route, we can have round-the-clock services to provide reliable connections. For 76K bus route, there should be an additional station at the Huanggang port. For A43P, the airport bus, we should also have it stop at the Huanggang port. For private car parking spaces, we should reserve space for multi-story car parks at the Shenzhen Technopole. I think not only will it provide parking infrastructure, it will also tie in with the development of the Shenzhen Technopole. With round-the-clock clearance at Liantang Port, it should divert the flow of people and provide convenience to the residents of the North District. The new Huanggang Port will practice a collaborative inspection and joint clearance model, and people only have to queue once. It will greatly reduce clearance time from 30 minutes to 5 minutes, but there are some operational hazards involving, say, systematic stability or data connections. Before, we had system errors that have caused long queues. With a design capacity of 200,000 to 300,000, if we have such system errors again, the consequences are dire. There should be contingency plans in place to make sure there won't be a total breakdown of operations of the port. We should also practice smart management, such as making use of big data to divert the flow of people. Overall speaking, we have entered a new stage of cooperation between Shenzhen and Hong Kong. It is not just about cross-boundary facilities. It is about promoting Shenzhen-Hong Kong innovation and technological cooperation, as well as improving the quality of living of the people. With the new Huanggang port's land being released of the existing port, we will be able to have more facilities for the development of that can tie in with Shenzhen Technopole and Northern Metropolis, boosting vitality in the area. And with different transportation connections such as Northern Link Spur Line and other new developments, we should be able to attract more visitors to the area. I hope that we can have better clearance so that we can better serve the country. As I was speaking in support of the bill.
Mr. Ray Wong, Madam President, we're having the resumption debate on the Huanggang Port, Hong Kong Port Area Bill. I'm fully in support of that. This is to provide a legal basis for the co-location at the Huanggang Port, and this is highly anticipated by the public. We're going to be administering the collaborative inspection and joint clearance mode. Previously, people have to queue up twice. Now it is only queuing once before they will be able to get through the boundary, and it will be shortened. Time will be shortened from 30 minutes to 5, and this will mean a great deal. The BPA has always been advocating better infrastructure, and this port will be a very important 24-hour passenger land BCP. The throughput will be increasing to 200,000 with more people. It will bring about more capital and more flow of capital, and this is also a big important engine to tie in with the National 15 Five-Year Plan. To get this done properly, we need to have the legislation, and I hope that there are 4 aspects the government will be following up on this to respond and address the public aspirations. We have to ensure a safe and efficient boundary. We must have a stress test and make sure that there is smooth operation. When the Shenzhen Bay Port was operational, the frontline people were not familiar with the situation. There was long queue, a huge backlog building up. Now, this is a 24-hour boundary point, and I hope that the government will train up the personnel properly, and prior to decommissioning, there should be a stress test to simulate the extreme scenario of 300,000 passengers. We must have the right arrangement. Second, the transport, we have to cater for the northbound travel of Hong Kong vehicles. We're glad to see that franchised minibuses are getting in competitively. And I think for the illegal cross-boundary vehicles. We have to tackle this. There should be undercover operation to tackle this illegal operation to facilitate commerce. After assessing the capacity, the northern travel of Hong Kong vehicles should be expanded to the Huanggang port to provide more convenience. Third, there should be better protection of personal data. Under the collaborative inspection mode, this would involve the linked system between the two places. People are concerned about the biological features. I hope that there will be more explanation to the members of the public about the operation to make sure that all the data collected will be in strict compliance with the PDPO in Hong Kong. And the experience is very, very important. The government should collaborate with the telecommunication operators to make sure that there will be good enough free public hi-fi network. Fourth, we have to link it up with North Metropolis to achieve the best possible synergy. The government should cooperate with the business community to roll out more measures. This is not simply for the clearance of passengers. We have to stimulate the economy. I hope that with this new port, Hong Shui Kiu, Ha Chun should be brought in to the equation, and the Northern Metropolis University Town should also be part of it. We should build a bigger pie to stimulate the economy. Overall, this port is not just a 24-hour passenger land BCP. It is also a milestone for us to integrate into and serve the overall development of our country. And I hope that this will be up and running as soon as possible so that we can benefit from the dividends of this port. With these words, I support the bill. Mr. Andrew Fan. Madam President, I speak in support of the Huanggang Port, Hong Kong Port Area Bill. This redevelopment project is an important project to integrate into the overall development of our country. And this is the consensus of a lot of people. In March, when the security panel discussed this subject, myself and other colleagues suggested the government bring this forward as soon as possible and get this up and running to benefit people from both sides. So for the government to fast-track this approach, I'm fully in support of that, and I hope that this can be commissioned and opened as soon as possible so that we can have a new chapter in our effort to integrate and serve the overall development of our country. Madam President, this is going to be a 24-hour passenger land BCP, and the design capacity will be 300,000 passenger trips per day. Now, this is a lot of convenience for trips between the two places. People are visiting both places for business and for visiting relatives, and this will be a lot better. There will be more flexibility. And the port building will be the main point for people to transfer onto the rail system. And the Huanggang port is the first place that administers collaborative inspection and joint clearance mode. Now, this innovative mode means that people will only have to queue up once, have the travel documents checked once before they can complete the clearance system. And the clearance time will be shortened from 30 minutes to 5. We can see that the Huanggang port will enhance the communication between the two places. The 1 hour living circle will not be limited by the constraint. Now, with the new Huanggang port, this will tie in with the East-in, East-out cargo operation. That there will be a clear division of responsibilities there. I must point out that this is close to Hetao and the Northern Metropolis, and the government should also integrate this into the Northern Metropolis. There should be better transport connectivity with this area to make sure that the Huanggang port will become a major gateway for people's access. In terms of land use, I hope that the government will take full advantage of the land released by the Lok Ma Chau to tie in with the Sun Tin Technopole to develop I&T industry. And the port can also drive I&T development, which will support very good integration. All in all, I support the enactment of the bill to provide for the co-location arrangement. The Shenzhen Bay Port has been serving us so well for 20 years, and this is serving as a very good example for us. So I hope that with the enactment of the bill, the Hong Kong port area will enjoy sound legal basis, and we should complete all the tests and trials and all the rest of it to make sure that the Huanggang port will be commissioned and opened as soon as possible. With these words, I support the second and third reading of the bill.
Mr. Dennis Leung. President, I support the Hong Kong Port Area Bill. I've long been following the progress of the new Huanggang port and the cross-boundary travel arrangement. I appreciate the importance of this port for the two-way travel between Hong Kong and the mainland. Why do we have to complete the legislation by the 31st of July? On the 26th of June, the NPCSC endorsed the decision to authorize the Hong Kong SAR government to exercise jurisdiction over the port area. On the 8th of July, the State Council issued a reply saying that we can commission the Hong Kong port area by the 31st of July. So we have to meet the hard deadline of 0 hours 31st of July 2026, the HKSCR is under an obligation to complete the legislation, including the principal and the subsidiary legislation. There cannot be any vacuum or blind spot between the old and new port. We have no choice. We have to meet the deadline of 31st of July. It's a constitutional and legal responsibility. Local legislation is different from commissioning. The sooner we get the legislation across the line, the sooner we have the conditions for opening the port. The 31st of July is the commissioning, not the opening. By commissioning, we mean the transfer of the jurisdiction. So starting from 0 hours on the 31st of July, the jurisdiction will be handed over, but the opening date remains to be agreed upon by the Hong Kong and Guangdong governments. We can illustrate this concept with the express rail link terminal in West Kowloon. The terminal opened on the 23rd of September 2018, but the commissioning happened before that. That means the sooner we enact the local legislation, the sooner we can proceed with the preparations for the opening. We need the port area to be sorted out, and then we proceed with the tests, contingency, drills, stress tests. Any delay in the local legislation will also delay the preparations. In the end, the public will suffer. That's why we added a council meeting today to deliver on people's priorities. This is what we ought to do to get real work done for people. On the subsidiary legislation, I hope the government can submit the draft soon. This bill is only the first step. We still have to make the subsidiary legislation under the negative vetting mechanism. The subsidiary legislation will cover a range of areas such as the frontier closed areas, the designated detention areas, allowing new territories taxis to go into the port area, allowing telecom providers to provide service, etc. The government should submit the draft subsidiary legislation soon to give members time to discuss the content, and then we ensure all the ports operate smoothly. We need a full range of tests, operational tests, public transport tests. Government departments should do their best. We should keep it safe and keep the operational smooth, and then we agree on an opening date. We will adopt the collaborative inspection and joint clearance for the new Huanggang port. We should introduce contactless clearance soon. The greatest highlight is this collaborative approach. This is different from the separate inspection and clearance, which is the current approach. People now have to queue up twice. Under the new arrangement, the inspection facilities will be at one place, so travelers will have their documents checked once, they queue once, and they verified, and then they're good to go. The overall process will be shortened from 30 minutes to 5. In the future, there will also be biometric authentication, such as using someone's face or iris. We should bring in contactless clearance so that the clearance time can go from 5 minutes to even shorter. And we should further enhance the service quality at Huanggang Port and build experience for other ports in the future. My other concern is about the capacity. The new Huanggang Port will boast a capacity that is greater than the other 6 ports. There will be 24/7 land-based passenger flow. There will be up to 200,000 travelers per day, and even 300,000 travelers per day. There will be 202 passengers routes paths up from 202 up from 81. There will also be more vehicle pathways, so more people will go to the new Huanggang port. The government needs to get 4 points right. First, education. With this new clearance approach, people will need time to get used to it, so extensive publicity will be in order to get the public accustomed to the new arrangement to avoid confusion. The second point is transport linkage. On the Shenzhen side, there will be metro, but on the Hong Kong side, people will rely on buses. Before the actual opening, the preparations need to be in place. Near the port, space should be earmarked for public parking so that people can use the new port with park and ride. The third point has to do with luggage inspection. We will see a massive boost to the capacity at the new port, so there will be higher requirements when it comes to efficiency. For luggage inspection, we need to have enough facilities and officers to ensure security. We also have to make sure that the inspection should not take too long and leave travelers stranded in the port. Now, my next point is contingency. The FTU cares deeply about this. There will be 5 stories above ground, 4 stories in the basement, and there will be space on each floor, either run by Hong Kong or run by Shenzhen. When an accident happens, the Secretary for Security says that the principle is saving lives first. When something does happen, while we have all the contingency plans in place, the public also needs to be clear on what will be done, and that's how we can put minds at ease. The new Huanggang port is more than just about upgrading the cross-boundary infrastructure. It's also how we demonstrate one country, 2 systems in action. The new Huanggang port will transform the cross-boundary travel experience for people so that people can truly get around within 30 minutes. I also submit to support the bill. Mr. Lower Thurlam. Thank you. I support the Hong Kong Port Area Bill. I support its resumption of second reading and the third reading. This will be the first port boasting the collaborative inspection and joint clearance. And there will be collocation on the land transport port. Shenzhen Bay adopted this practice before the Huanggang port. But the new Huanggang port will adopt collaborative approach and joint clearance. This means people and cars only queue once and then they are good to go. People are one gate away from their destination. And this is one country, 2 systems in action. This fosters integration of Hong Kong into the mainland. The new Huanggang port is welcomed by the public transport sector because this port will be a 24/7. Now, for cross-boundary coaches, franchise buses, franchise minibuses, and taxis, all of them can access the public transport interchange at the port. In the past, people had to catch the connecting transport. Now, we used to see travelers getting stranded after watching the New Year's Eve fireworks. This won't happen in the future. This means more room for all forms of public transport, but there are industry concerns. As I said during our scrutiny of the bill yesterday, there will be one story for entry and departure on the same floor. There is little room for picking up and dropping off passengers, so we should set up a waiting area at the PTI. Our transport authority should get the crowd management and waiting right. Especially, we need waiting areas for cross-boundary coaches, taxis, and ride-hailing vehicles. The new port will be able to accommodate 200,000 travelers per day and even up to 300,000 passengers per day, up from 40,000 now. Since we encourage public transport, we have just 7 franchise buses, 6 minibus routes, and short-haul cross-boundary coaches and taxis. Is that enough to cope with the massive increase in passenger volumes? People don't want to end up spending 15 minutes on queuing waiting for transport after 5 minutes in clearance. After the new port is operational, the government should review the transport arrangement and the crowd level. We should also review whether the existing public transport is enough. During public holidays, we should arrange more frequent bus services. The government said we have citywide bus coverage, public transport coverage, but people want swifter transport options, especially for connection with the cruise terminal and the international airport. That would make it easier for mainland travelers to travel to other destinations. As the preamble of the bill says, there will be 4 points of significance for the new Hong Kong port. First, better connectivity in infrastructure. Second, facilitating economic and trade activities between the Hong Kong and the mainland. Fostering GBA development. And fourth, supporting Hong Kong in contributing to and integrating international development. I hope this Hong Kong port will facilitate two-way movement between Hong Kong and the mainland, so that Hong Kong residents go north and mainland residents go south. And then we can achieve joint development. I so submit and support the bill. Thank you.
Mr. Sunny Tan. Thank you, President. I speak in support of the Huanggang Port, Hong Kong Port Area Bill. With the new clearance arrangements, which the public has great expectations about, as well as the commercial sector in particular. It will provide greater convenience for the flow of people between Hong Kong and Shenzhen, as well as create impetus for growth of the development of the northern metropolis. Often for those in the business sector, we have to travel between Hong Kong and Shenzhen. We are glad to hear that the new clearance time at the Huanggang port will be reduced to 5 minutes. It will be greatly convenient for us. With the country's 15 5-year plan, there are some new arrangements that would facilitate the flow of factors of production for the development of the northern metropolis. And at the new Huanggang port, there are specific clearance arrangements that I am concerned about. We had members raise concerns about public transportation, as well as waiting areas for taxis, taxi fleet taxis, as well as ride-hailing vehicles. But there are no waiting areas for private cars and other types of vehicles. I hope that in future, with the smoother operations of the port, we can enhance the arrangements for transportation. Second, with the new clearance mode, the clearance time will greatly reduce to 5 minutes. But then, at periods, we have seen there are long queues at ports, so people can't really expect how much time is needed to queue at ports. I urge the administration to make use of INT as well as big data to provide more data for the reference of travelers, say from when they get out of a vehicle to the completion of clearance, how long it will take so that they can be prepared. Often it's not just about queuing at the port. There are different uncertainties and factors to consider. People have to go out half an hour or even an hour early for their plans. I think with them prepared, it will greatly enhance efficiency for society and productivity. We can also make use of data to deploy officers as needed at different periods that can greatly enhance efficiency at the port. We want to reduce what we say in plans non-productive times. It is very important if people's waiting time can be converted to something productive. It will be greatly beneficial. Hong Kong has to actively integrate into the country's 15th five-year plan, and the Huanggang port is a key initiative. I support the early passage of the bill, and I look forward to the commissioning of the port. I so submit. Mr. Aaron Buck, we are further scrutinizing the Hong Kong Port Area Bill today. Bill would lay foundations for the implementation of the co-location arrangement. On behalf of the engineering sector, I speak in support of the bill. From the perspective of the engineering profession, it is definitely a major infrastructure project. It is key to the government implementing the country's strategy. We have 5 floors above ground, 4 floors below ground. We will have tracks reserved for, say, the Northern Link spur line in future. The port building's major works are largely completed. Both the Hong Kong side and the Shenzhen side are taking forward the relevant works at full steam, especially with the interior works. And we have the Shenzhen municipal flower features being included as the feature of the architecture of the Huanggang port. And with the 5th floor hall, it has a special technique in architecture use that is greatly sophisticated. More importantly, this infrastructure would provide convenience to the people. The new Huanggang port is to be around-the-clock passenger land-based boundary control point that implements the co-location arrangement as well as the collaborative inspection and joint clearance model. In their respective jurisdictions, we would have the Shenzhen side and Hong Kong side do their clearance procedures. In the automated channels, there are 3 gates. The first gate would collect ID information, the second would collect biometric data, and the third would have the targeted clearance procedure completed. Basically, travelers would only have to queue once and have their ID checked once as well as their identity verified once to complete the clearance procedures. That will significantly reduce clearance time from 30 minutes to 5 minutes. We have now from 202 channels increased from 84 before. We can now accommodate 200,000 people instead of 40,000 people before. With the commissioning of the Northern Link spur line, it can go up to 300,000. With different public transport services available, franchise bus, minibus, taxi, cross-boundary bus services, people don't have to just rely on Go bus services and they have to get in and out of Go buses multiple times. We also see advanced technology being used to enhance clearance experience. This showcases the outcomes of innovative institutional innovation. under the constitutional framework, the SAR government takes forward the promulgation of the Hong Kong Port Area Bill with reference to the Shenzhen Bay Port Hong Kong Port Area Bill, as it is an effective framework that has been in place for close to 20 years. With the new port, it's not just an upgrade in cross-boundary infrastructure, it is also how we can enhance connectivity between the two sides. With the Northern Link Spur Line commission, it would only take 11 minutes to get from Shantin to the Huanggang port. It will greatly divert the flow of people and vehicles from other ports. The new Huanggang port is also located between Futian and Shantin Technopole. It can facilitate the mobility of INT personnel and resources so that we can truly develop INT as an engine for the economy. The State Council has provided a reply that the Hong Kong port will be commissioned starting from 0000 hours on 31st of July this year. The SAR government is responsible for taking forward relevant work for the commissioning of the port. The new Huanggang port, the people have great expectations. It also involves significant investment. I believe the people will support us to pass the bill as early as possible so that this infrastructure can serve the public as soon as possible. I have been speaking in support of the bill.
Mr. Chen Shu-hong. Thank you, Madam President. I rise to speak in support of the Huanggang Port Hong Kong Port Area Bill. The redeveloped Huanggang Port, like the Shenzhen Bay Port, will administer co-location, and this is an innovative mode of collaborative inspection joint clearance, and this is taking us further in the connectivity between Hong Kong and the mainland in terms of hardware and software. And this is something that I've been expecting to happen for a long time, and we are fully in support of that. The bill is referencing the CAP 101 of the Shenzhen Bay Port Ordinance, but this is not really a replicate of the Shenzhen Bay Port. We have our respective jurisdiction, and there will be automated channels and counters side by side, and this is a very highly efficient customs clearance mode. In Shenzhen Bay Port, people have to queue up twice. In the Huanggang Port, the members of the public will only have to queue up once, have the travel documents checked once, and in one single move, they can complete the clearance. And this is a very good interface, and there is a lot of challenges involved in this regard. The House Committee convened a special meeting to scrutinize the bill, and questions were raised, to which the administration gave us a reply regarding the division of work, and they've explained to us the day-to-day operation of the Huanggang port, and people are very concerned about the flow and the efficiency, and this is providing a very good foundation and a legal basis for us to take forward this idea. Madam President, collaborative inspection joint clearance obviously will improve the clearance experience and efficiency, but we have to make sure that in taking forward this innovation, the personal data on the part of the members of the public will be safeguarded. I raised questions at the meeting about the use of automated channels. Do people have to show the home return permit before they can complete the clearance procedure? And the information transmitted to the Shenzhen authorities is restricted to the information on the home return permit, the facial features, and the fingerprint, to the exclusion of anything else. And the computer systems in two places, how can they ensure that everything is done properly. The administration said that there will be no interconnection between the computer systems of the two places. It's only with the consent that the data will be transmitted to the Shenzhen authorities. Without any consent, people can still use the manual counters. I'm glad to see that while building the smart clearance mode, the government is also attaching importance to personal data privacy. In recent times, we've seen a cyber attack, and there is a growing trend there. I'm pleased to see that in terms of data transmission, there will be a closed system. There will not be any public network being involved. There is a task force set up between the two places. I hope that there would be a long-standing communication system to enhance the data protection measures going forward. Other than convenience, Madam President, the transport arrangement will also make a difference to people's travel experience. If there is a bottleneck, however hard you try to streamline the customs clearance, the entire efficiency will be compromised. The traffic and transport arrangements should be far-sighted during long holidays or festive periods. People really desire to have a point-to-point transport arrangement. I did put a question regarding the Huanggang port, whether the ride-hailing taxis can be allowed some designated spots. I know that this ride-hailing system is still in its infancy, and there is no such arrangement. But with the travel pattern changing, the use of mobile app to call the ride-hailing transport, without any arrangement, there would be traffic congestion caused by ride-hailing vehicles. The Let's Go has already scrutinized the subsidiary legislation regarding ride-hailing service. I hope that the TLB and the Transport Department will coordinate with other departments as the port is put into service. In the vicinity of the port building, there should be reserve capacity near the port building to allow drop-off and pick-up points for the ride-hailing service. I'm pleased to see that the administration would have regard to the operational situation and conduct a review. In terms of operation and in terms of the legal basis, this represents an upgrade, and in terms of data security and transport arrangement, this represents a new beginning. I hope that with the commissioning of the Huanggang port, the success story can be replicated in other BCPs in the northern metropolis and really achieve greater or better connectivity in the GBA. With these words, I support the bill. Ms. Nixie Lam.
Speak in support of the Huanggang Port Hong Kong Port Area Bill. This legislation offers a clear, tangible demonstration of the unique cross-border collaboration made possible under the One Country, Two System framework. Authorized by the NPC Standing Committee and formally approved by the State Council, this bill enables Hong Kong to exercise our full customs, immigration and local law jurisdiction within the designated port zone. This is a distinctive institutional arrangement, one that absolutely requires robust legal grounding to operate properly. The existing port has served Hong Kong for 3 decades, yet its outdated workflow relies on repetitive, time-consuming inspections, often taking travelers more than 30 minutes to clear immigration. This creates a persistent inconvenience for our cross-border users, especially foreign business professionals and expatriates traveling between Hong Kong and Shenzhen. The redeveloped port introduced a new collaborative inspections and joint clearance clearance model. It slashes border processing time to around 5 minutes, while boosting daily passenger capacity from 40,000 up to 300,000. This massive upgrade will significantly streamline cross-border traffic and business flow across the Greater Bay Area. Equally important, this bill resolves the long-standing legal uncertainties. It confirms that Hong Kong's established legal standards fully applies within our port jurisdiction, delivering clear regulatory certainty for all travelers. As a key infrastructure backbone for the northern metropolis and the Greater Bay Area development, the new port better connects Hong Kong's professional services with Shenzhen's innovative ecosystem, fostering greater cross-border talents exchange and also the commercial collaboration for multinational enterprises. During yesterday's 4-hour House Committee meetings, members raised 63 detailed inquiries covering all operational and legal aspects of the bill. The motion received unwavering support with no amendment proposed, marking one of the most efficient yet rigorous scrutiny exercise. Major construction works are already complete, with which I believe some of the interior finishing and operational trials and cross-border stress tests now in progress. Timely passage of this bill would solidify the full legal framework before the critical 31st of July deadline. I urge the government to maintain close coordination with Shenzhen authorities to finalize all pre-opening assessment so the new port could launch at the earliest possible. Upon commissioning, clear on-site signage and enhancing the public transportation arrangement, including new bus routes, and will be available to accommodate surging passengers' demand, ensuring smooth and user-friendly cross-border travels. To the international community, this bill vividly illustrates Hong Kong's unique institutional strength. It delivers efficient, legally robust cross-border connectivities and underpins sustainable, integrated regional growth within the Greater Bay Area. President, I fully support the bill. Thank you.
陳曉峰議員。
Mr. Nick Chen. Mr. Deputy, I support the Huanggang Port Area bill. I also give my full support for the full advancement of this landmark. In June this year, I had the honor of attending an NPCSE meeting. At that meeting, they authorized Hong Kong SAR to run the Hong Kong Port Area of the new Hong Kong Port. The new Hong Kong Port is a major piece of infrastructure that will foster Hong Kong's development and retain talent. It is aligned with Hong Kong's strength, and people will benefit. This port will offer visible and tangible benefits and institutional dividends. The new Huanggang Port Area will remain open 24/7. It will adopt collaborative inspection and joint clearance, which is a new way of clearance. Travelers simply have to queue up once for a single inspection, and then they're good to go in the future. The customs clearance time will be slashed from 30 minutes to 5. The waiting time will go down by 80%. Once the new port is operational, the daily capacity will go up from 40,000 passengers to 200,000 passengers, a 5-fold increase. The new port area will be purely for passenger clearance. The goods clearance will go to other ports. So the resources will be concentrated on serving the public. In the past, the goods and passengers went to the same spot and there was congestion. This new arrangement is good for travelers and also offers a flexible mechanism for spreading out the travelers. Those traveling over long weekends see the packed boundary crossing facilities. They are stuck in the queue for hours. The new Huanggang port will adopt a methodical approach to spreading out the crowd. It will ease the pressure on our BCPs. It will save time for people crossing the boundary. There will also be no more congestion in the public transport. so that the public transport system won't suffer because of this increase in the flow of passengers. There will be less time in queuing and more time for people to enjoy the 1 hour living circle. The efficiency of the port area does not depend solely on the clearance approach, it's also about the public transport linkage. The government is taking forward the Hong Kong-Shenzhen Western Rail Link from Hongshou-Q to Tianhai, and also the Northern Link Spur Line. These are strategic rail links. The government is also exploring the extension of the rail link to the new Huanggang port, so that the rail links of Shenzhen and Hong Kong can be linked seamlessly. I support that, but this will take time. The rail project won't be completed until the 2030s. For people to get to the port, people rely on buses, taxis, and other land transport. That's why the government must plan ahead to improve the land transport. We need better cross-boundary coach services. On top of that, the government should also explore transport links to education and INT hubs. This means more franchised buses. So there's a science park route. Can we extend that to Cyberport? Can we extend that to university towns and core commercial districts? This can foster the flow of talent and business activities. This will improve the overall transport link for the new Huanggang port and also foster this dual engine in Hong Kong, meaning INT in the north and finance in the south. The redevelopment of the new Huanggang port and co-location will unlock this space of huge potential. This will support future development. With the passenger-only approach, there will be 200 hectares or 250,000 square meters of precious land from Lok Ma Chau, so that's 30 standard football pitches. Land is at a premium in Hong Kong. The 20 hectares of land will be a huge asset to Hong Kong people. The land is in this prime area in the northern metropolis. We free up the land that gives Hong Kong the room to plan its future. The SAR government can consider our own needs. We built a new university town, a tech park, labs, high-value adding medical centers, and also legal and dispute resolution service centers, etc. People will see more user-friendly transport, but the new Huanggang port will bring not just ease in travel, but also huge changes in the urban landscape. The new Huanggang port is a piece of cross-boundary infrastructure. It will also be a keynote in the northern metropolis, with the Hong Kong Park in Hetao and also the Northern Link to be completed. The new Huanggang port will bring Shenzhen and Hong Kong closer in the GBA. It will further foster the flow of people, materials, capital, and data. For cross-boundary entrepreneurs, students, elderly care, and access to healthcare, the new Huanggang port will create more favorable conditions. People used to spend a lot of time on traveling and customs clearings. That time will be converted into development opportunities, and that means a broader market for businesses. And for professionals like me, that will bring enormous room for development. For the general public, that will mean more options in life. The GBA development is not an abstract concept. It's something people can feel and enjoy in their everyday life. For Hong Kong's public, especially young people, the new Huanggang port will save time in clearance. The new port will also create more possibilities and more room for Hong Kong's future. By freeing up the land, Hong Kong will be able to attract leading tech firms from across the globe. It will bring in high value added industries so that this can go towards supporting our position as a global financial, shipping, and trade center. We will be able to bring in more professional jobs that are well paying. Our young people won't have to go elsewhere to take part in our country's business and science projects. So people can stay here, they set their sights on the GBA, and then they can move up the social ladder. The legal basis for the new Huanggang port also merits our support. We respect the Constitution, the Basic Law, and one country, two systems. The Hong Kong and the SAR and the mainland have been implementing co-location under the Constitution. The great success story is the West Kowloon XRL terminal. What we're doing now is also lawful, reasonable, and sensible. The new Huanggang port will make us more competitive. It will make life easier for people. The core idea is to save time for people. It will achieve greater efficiency. It will offer greater security. It will make traveling easier for people, and it will unleash potential. It will strengthen our institutional strength so that the public at large can benefit from smart living. I submit the Huanggang Port, Hong Kong Port area. Thank you. Mr. Ken Wong. Mr. Deputy, I support the early passage of the Hong Kong Port area bill. The Hong Kong port is the only round-the-clock overland boundary crossing point. Tens of thousands of families, workers, and business travelers go via the port. The existing port is outdated. The space is cramped. It's commonplace for people to get stuck in the queue for half an hour. The congestion is bad. That's affecting people. With the redeveloped port, there will be co-location. The central authorities authorized Hong Kong to run the Hong Kong port area. That's one country, two systems in action. It also addresses people's struggles in life. It will foster connectivity in the Greater Bay Area. I support the early enactment of the bill. The bill provides a solid legal and constitutional basis. The NPCSC has authorized the HKSAR to run the Hong Kong port area in the 14th district of the Huanggang port. The local legislation exercise for us sets out the exact area and coordinates of the Hong Kong port area. We are also amending the interpretation into general clauses ordinance to make sure that all Hong Kong laws and court orders, when referring to Hong Kong, will also cover the Hong Kong port area in the Huanggang port. This is modeled on the practice for the Shenzhen Bay Port and the Express Rail Link Terminal in West Kowloon. This way, the Customs, Immigration Department, and the police will have solid legal justification in their actions, so there will be no regulatory ambiguity. This points to the flexibility and complementarity in the legal frameworks of Hong Kong and the mainland under one country, two systems. This new bill, once enacted, will address a long-standing problem for people crossing the boundary. The new port will adopt the collaborative inspection and joint clearance approach. Travelers will have their documents checked once. The Hong Kong and Shenzhen side do the checking at the same time. The clearance time will be slashed from 30 minutes to 5. That's something people look forward to. The daily passenger handling capacity will go up from 40,000 to 200,000 travelers per day. With the opening of the Northern Link Spur Line, the capacity can go up to 300,000 travelers per day. For the cross-boundary commuters, for school and for work, as well as small and medium business people, The time saved from queuing will take pressure off people's lives and business. The government should get the stress test right. For the peak periods during holidays, we need contingency plans. Well, to make sure that swiftness does not lead to chaos, we should also improve the public transport. We need smart port facilities and barrier-free access. Or to make sure we truly implement the facilitation measures. The new Huanggang port is a key milestone in fostering GBA integration. The National 15th Five-Year Plan calls for integrated development in the GBA. Seamless flow of people and materials is crucial. The new Huanggang port will be open 24/7. This can also link up Hong Kong and Shenzhen, involving places like Shekou and the Loop. This will facilitate the two-way flow of professionals. The new port will also make it easier for small and medium enterprises to operate on both sides. This can also mean new opportunities for development for businesses and the tourism sector. With a better legal system, we can ensure the long-term stability and the success of the two sides. And this also lays a solid basis for development on both sides. We need a monitoring mechanism for the new arrangement. We should enhance the arrangement when appropriate to maximize the benefit. For many years, the successful implementation of co-location has shown that with the cooperation of both Hong Kong and the mainland and the support of the Central People's Government, we can safeguard the right of the people. We can also overcome challenges in cross-boundary transport. We can reconcile people's well-being with national development. The new Huanggang port will lead to greater efficiency in clearance. It can also bring people closer together on the Hong Kong side and the Shenzhen side. This is crucial for Hong Kong's integration into national development. I so submit and support the bill. I also urge members to support the early completion of the legislative process so that people can enjoy this swift, round-the-clock clearance facility sooner. Thank you.
Mr. Lam Chen Sing. Thank you, Deputy President. A few years ago, the administration took forward the implementation of the co-location arrangement at the Huanggang port. Travelers no longer needed to get on the connection bus again, and they could just do clearance in a single location. The Huanggang port in future will be a major passenger land-based boundary control point, and the existing Lok Ma Chau boundary control point site will be released for development of the Sentin Technopool. With the principal works largely complete of the port building, the interior works will be undertaken with the operation of this bill to lay solid foundations for the full commissioning of the new port. The FLU fully supports this bill and the implementation of the collaborative inspection and joint clearance model so that citizens can benefit from the arrangement of having only to queue once and complete clearance within 5 minutes. I would like to praise the Security Bureau's efforts in taking forward the automated channels. With those going north, they will make use of they will produce their mainland travel permit. For those coming to Hong Kong, they will show their ID to be used in Hong Kong or Hong Kong ID. We do have some facial recognition technology being used, but the new Huanggang port cannot achieve what is being implemented at the shuttlecock control point, for example. The port actually has adequate space for the installation of such hardware facilities. I urge the Bureau in future to set down a timetable so that contactless clearance can be more widely used in different ports. I also hope the administration will do proper assessments of the flow of people, such as the Huanggang port. People thought without railway connection there would not be a lot of people going to the control point, but in the end, it is very crowded. While the new Huanggang port has a capacity of 200,000, the Bureau should not rest easy. We need to make sure to have plans to divert people quickly. And we also need to make the environment favorable for queuing, such as seats for elderly persons. We also need to make sure the environment where people wait for public transportation will be comfortable. We only have public transportation connections for the port. For those who drive private cars, they will need to find parking spaces in the vicinity and take the public transportation options to get to Huanggang port. The Northern Link spur line will only be commissioned in 2034. Before that, a lot of people will likely drive their cars to the vicinity of the port. We need to make sure we have facilities that can cater to that demand. And in the long term, we should have a car park location that is convenient for the people. With the collaborative inspection and joint clearance model, personal information will only be collected once, and the data will only be checked against the two sides' respective databases. There will not be sharing of data. The administration needs to implement proper information security measures to prevent data breaches. We should also prevent there from being errors causing long queues for the people. We should also have contingency plans in place just in case. I so submit, speaking in support of the bill. Thank you, Deputy President. Mr. Mukit, Deputy President, we are looking at a bill that is not only about the development of a port, it is about the development of the city and a key initiative for the country. I fully support this bill, therefore. The bill is to lay solid legal foundations for the commissioning of the Huanggang port on 31st of July this year, and under the basic law framework, we will be designating a Hong Kong port area of areas at the Huanggang port in the Chinese mainland. It really showcases the effectiveness of one country, two systems, and we are actually taking a prudent approach. I would like to thank the country's staunch support as well as the cooperation of the Shenzhen authorities. The redevelopment of the Huanggang port is a key infrastructure of the country. It is located in a strategic location, and we are very lucky to have this space for this infrastructure. It really shows the support of the central authorities for Hong Kong's integrated development of the country, into the country. Before with separate location arrangement, it would take 30 minutes for clearance. It does not catch up with the times when the Greater Bay Area is undergoing rapid development. With the collaborative inspection and joint clearance model, the clearance time will be greatly reduced to 5 minutes. With this clearance time shortening, it's not just about numbers, it's about a reform in efficiency. The port can accommodate 200,000. It would mean for over 8 hours saved each day. It can convert into more commercial collaborations, creative exchanges, family gatherings. And the port is to operate round the clock. And in future, with the connection to the Northern Link, it will truly be a major cross-boundary infrastructure. With the new Huanggang port, it is an important development. It is in a key area of the northern metropolis. It is in the vicinity of Santin Technopole. Without efficient clearance, the Northern Metropolis cannot be an engine for growth. And with the reduction in clearance time, it provides for more frequent exchanges between R&T personnel on the two sides, as well as for entrepreneurs. And in different frontier technological areas, there will be closer collaboration. It creates strong impetus for growth of the economy of Hong Kong and lay solid foundations for high quality development of the city. In future, we will have more youngsters take advantage of the infrastructure for the exchanges. I believe with this infrastructure, not only will it connect the two cities, but also connect the dreams of the youngsters on two sides. It will also be an important bridge for youngsters to integrate into the country. With global circumstances rapidly changing in terms of supply chain, technology, competition, we need to deepen ties between the two sides, not just in resource sharing, but also in positioning. We need to make sure we have efficient connectivity, not just with the outside, but also with the country. We play a dual gateway role. And this is very important. We should not neglect livelihoods either for cross-boundary students or people traveling between the two cities for work. This will improve their quality of living. They have more time to rest. They have more time to be happy. Basically, with this bill, it is a form of institutional innovation and a next step for regional integration. It is also an important fulcrum for the development of the Northern Metropolis and an important hub for the high-quality development of the GBA. It is a key initiative for Hong Kong to integrate into the development of the country. I hope with the passage of this bill, the preparatory work can be pressed ahead at full steam so that we can commission the new Huanggang port as planned to benefit the public as well as youngsters to see broader horizons, and for the implementation of the co-location arrangement and collaborative inspection and joint clearance model, enhancing efficiency of the city. Thank you. I shall submit.
Mr. Jiming, Mr. Deputy, the media reported the progress of the Huanggang port redevelopment. People ask me when this will be coming into being. I'm sure that a lot of people would like to see it happen as soon as possible. This is going to be a 24-passenger land BCP. This provides a lot of convenience to the travelers. The co-location arrangement represents better efficiency. Not only is it a good thing, it is a major initiative. On the 26th of June, this NPCSC authorized this, and the State Council also issued an official reply for the Hong Kong port to be coming into being, to be commissioned on the 31st of July 2026. And prior to that, we have the obligation to put in place the legislation. And we're fast-tracking this particular bill. We need to fast-track it, but we have to make it a solemn exercise. Since the introduction of the bill, the Security Bureau gave us briefings regarding the hardware, facilities, and the minute details of the bill. And the LegCo also convened special House Committee meetings for the Secretary to address members' questions and address a lot of the concerns raised by various quarters. The Secretary said very clearly that we do have precedents to go by. The express rail in West Kowloon, the Shenzhen Bayport, have served as good examples for us. The bill, in terms of the details, it is similar to the Shenzhen Bayport Ordinance, and we do have a good foundation. Members asked about the emergency and so on. These questions are also addressed. Mr. Deputy, this bill can offer us better efficiency in clearance, relieving the pressure on other ports, people don't have to queue up twice. With the introduction of this, people will have to queue up once, and the clearance time will be shortened from 30 minutes to 5. According to information, the daily design throughput would be 200,000. At its peak, it can cope with 300,000. Not only will this enhance the capacity, it can also relieve the pressure on other BCPs. Second, it is open 24/7, and the e-commerce is really very common, and there is a need for 24-hour BCP. And this 24-hour BCP would facilitate the development of an hour living circle. Third, transport interchange. The transport interchange would be essential. The new Hong Kong port area linked with Futian and Hong Kong, and there are a number of intercity rail network, and also the Northern Link spur line that will be put in place. This will provide a very good transport network, strengthening Hong Kong's role as Hong Kong's interconnectivity. This is also good for logistics. We have the Hetao Science and Technology Cooperation Zone. This port will certainly be the preferred port for the tech talents. The co-location will shorten the time, and this will stimulate the development of the Hetao area. And we can have the fast logistics network to tie in with the manufacturing base in the Pearl River Delta, and this will provide good or new stimulus. With fast clearance, we will have to make sure that the internet connection is good enough. There will be flexible provisions to allow the MNOs in the mainland to provide the radio communication services in the port area, and the government will be providing the free public Wi-Fi network. And this is a very good arrangement to provide convenience to the businessmen and the visitors. Finally, transport arrangement. The bus routes going to the port, and there are 7 at the moment. It may be enough for the time being. I hope that the administration will be monitoring the situation and make a dynamic adjustment. People are concerned about the lack of public transport, public car parks, and this will not be available for the time being. But indeed, there is a need for parking for the business people. I hope the government will identify neighboring areas to address this parking issue. Mr. Deputy PA is in support of the passage of this bill. Mr. Perry-Yu. Mr. Deputy, I speak in support of the passage of the bill. With the authorization of the central authorities, we are having this bill, and we are fast-tracking the scrutiny of this bill so that the Huanggang port can be up and running as soon as possible. And this is another example of close collaboration between the two places. And the Shenzhen municipal government is building this, and Hong Kong is given the Hong Kong port area and the nominal rent. And this is in support of Hong Kong's integration with the overall development of the country, and a milestone for cooperation. The opening of the Huanggang port is really anticipated eagerly. People are using the yellow bus, and they have to get on and off the bus twice. And this is a 24-hour passenger land BCP, and this is the first time we use the collaborative inspection and joint clearance, and the clearance time will be reduced from 30 minutes to 5. and it can cope with 200,000 passenger trips and with a additional capacity of 300,000. This will facilitate the flow of people between the two places. We can save a lot of time, but at the same time, we have to make sure that there will be good transport arrangement to facilitate people's access to the Huanggang port. Mr. Deputy, I must declare that a member of the Airport Authority, the Airport Authority has been emphasizing the intermodal arrangement to open up the GPA market. We have the air and land mode, and we need to have an efficient BCP so that more GPA travelers can use the airports more efficiently. There are a lot of flights that are same-day kind of flight, and people, when they are exercising their choice, will have regard to the convenience of the BCP. For this mode, this certainly at the moment, this is inconvenient for the passengers. With 24-hour passenger BCP, it would be a very good opportunity for us to entice more GPA visitors to come and take the flight in Hong Kong. So I think we should liaise with the Shenzhen authorities and designate an express airport channel to facilitate the passengers, so that people taking the flight in Hong Kong would have a good experience. Second, I've always been concerned about the public transport arrangement in the Huanggang port. The new port area is a super rail hub in the GPA. It is connected with the underground system. With the commissioning, it would be connected with Guangdong and Dongguan area. I'm sure a lot of visitors from these cities will be using the intercity rail and come to Hong Kong via the Huanggang port. Here in Hong Kong, the Northern Link spur line will not be commissioned until 2034, and I hope that the administration will be fast-tracking this in such a way that we have the rail connection to enhance the effectiveness of the Huanggang port. The government has planned some franchise buses and minibuses and the green taxis to serve the visitors who are bound for the Huanggang port. Other than the routing, the government should also bear in mind the fact that people traveling through the Huanggang port will be laden with luggage. So the vehicles should be fitted with the luggage racks. In terms of operation of the port, the government should consider differential arrangement for the group travelers and individual travelers. Now, for group travelers, the lack of service for them is a problem. Many of the visitors are coming to Hong Kong via Huanggang, outbound travelers also, but the overcapacity, the demand is exceeding capacity by threefold, and I'm sure that going forward, this certainly would limit the capacity for the group travelers. This will also undermine the experience of the travelers, of course. So people would expect that the Sha Tao Kok BCP will be redeveloped to alleviate the crush. Now, with the commissioning of the Huanggang port, the trade very much hope that the group visitors using Huanggang port will be given better treatment. The PTI is rather limited in size. We haven't quite seen this for ourselves. We're not sure about that, but if there is a space constraint in such a way that the coaches will not be able to take the passengers all the way to the Huanggang port, and this is understandable. But I think going forward, we have to bear in mind the group travelers when they're using the Huanggang port. Now, at the moment, people are using the yellow buses at Santin. That this will be a thing of the past going forward. If you are taking the travelers all the way to Santin for them to transfer onto other transport to Huanggang port, and this may not be a desirable experience either. So I think the government should really seriously consider this to make sure that these travelers would enjoy better traveling experience. And the parking for the coaches and so on should be considered. There should be space available for them. Mr. Deputy, I hope that the administration would arrange for the travel industry to conduct a site visit to the area. And if we can give our professional input, we will be able to give some insight to the administration to make sure that the operation would be more smooth, so that individual travelers and group travelers would enjoy a smooth passage through the Huanggang port. And if there is enough space, that more convenience should be provided to the visitors.
Dr. Simon Lee. Thank you, Mr. Deputy. This council is now scrutinizing the Huanggang Port Hong Kong Port Area Bill. On the 26th of June this year, the NPCSC endorsed this decision to authorize the HKSAR to exercise jurisdiction over the Hong Kong Port area and the related extended area of the Huanggang Port. So we're taking the follow-up actions on that decision. So under the constitutional order, we get the authorization and then we implement the decision. At the national constitutional level, our country resolved this fundamental issue of applying Hong Kong laws in a part of Shenzhen. So local legislation, which is what we're doing, now gets the legal basis. And there is also a legal basis for the future operation of the port area, and that's provided. So the legal foundation is laid. The NPCSC's decision to authorize us to exercise jurisdiction is about what our country allows us to do. Our port area will be in Shenzhen. So the NPCSC authorized the HKSCR government to exercise full jurisdiction over our port area. Our local legislation, which is about the execution, is about how we run our port area. The legislative process turns the empowerment into operable local legislation. So the specific measures include declaring a Hong Kong port area and also sorting out how our laws apply to the port area. The NPCSC provides the legal basis and the constitutional basis for co-location. And here's how this arrangement works. First, making this decision to authorize the HKSCR government to run the Hong Kong port area in accordance with Hong Kong law starting from the date of commissioning. Second, the nuts and bolts of the regulation. First, the regulation will take place as if it's a frontier closed area. So there's a lease. We have this area up to the 30th of June 2047. And once the lease expires, the NPCSC can make a decision to renew the lease. And then for the port area and the Lok Ma Chau Bridge, the surrounding areas are also covered by the authorization. The workflow for the authorization also points to the rigor in our approach. So Hong Kong and Guangzhou raises this matter with the NPC, and then the NPCSC authorizes Hong Kong to run the port area. There are a few highlights with the approach, and that is a massive upgrade to the clearance facility. We will adopt the collaborative inspection and joint clearance. Apart from the port area itself, there will be the bridge and also the connecting roads and also the road surface of the rail. We will adopt a closed area approach to the management to make sure the boundaries are clear. The lease is adopted in a flexible way. Hong Kong adopts the lease. Once the lease is almost expiring, the NPCSC can make a decision to renew the lease, and that will ensure long-term stability. We also learn from tried and tested experience. There's also innovation. The full jurisdiction approach is modeled on that for the Shenzhen Port Bay area. The Shenzhen Bay Port has been operating for more than 2 decades. No legal challenge has arisen, so we have adopted this practice, and this is one country, two systems in action. The NPCSC's authorization decision sorts out the matter at the national constitutional level. Our legislation is about the nuts and bolts of implementation. So authorization from the central government and the local legislation, they provide a solid legal basis for the port's operation. I support the Huanggang Port Hong Kong Port Area Bill. Mr. Albert Chuang. Thank you, Mr. Deputy. I support the Huanggang Port Hong Kong Port Area Bill. The new port will be inside Shenzhen. It's a key port among others that connects the northern metropolis with the mainland. In the GBA, this port will be a key port for passenger travel. It will be a megaport. This project is something that the public looks forward to. It will mean a great deal for people's well-being. It will be connected to the platform of the Northern Link Spur line, so it's directly accessible to the loop, and it will facilitate cross-boundary flow of people and materials. We will also free up 20 hectares of land. The new land will be of great strategic importance for Hong Kong's integration to the mainland. In June this year, the NPCSC authorized Hong Kong to run the Hong Kong port area. With the central government's authorization, the SCL government worked non-stop on the legislation so that the legislation can be enacted by the 31st of July. This provides for the legal basis for collocation of Huanggang Port, and then there will be tests, transport tests, stress tests, drills, etc. The greatest challenge happens after the legislation. The legislative exercise proceeded against a tight deadline. This is warranted and there is urgency. A key point during our discussion is about this full jurisdiction approach. This is modeled on the approach in Shenzhen Bay Port, where collocation is also in place. So we have adopted the ordinance on the Hong Kong port area in the Shenzhen Bay area. Then there's also the extended area. This for the Huanggang port. This is where it differs from the Shenzhen Bay port. That's why we adopt this new collaborative inspection and joint clearance. We're adopting this for the first time. We should allow more time for operational tests and also drills for emergencies. We want to make sure that once the port is operational, it will operate smoothly. Many members were concerned about clearly delineating the enforcement areas. We also discussed how we can prevent illegal workers from coming in. We talked about how to prevent smuggling. So for different enforcement scenarios, there should be clear guidelines for frontline enforcement officers. During our discussion yesterday, members also raised questions about the nuts and bolts of the operation, such as public transport, telecoms, Concerns were raised on these points. The government should follow up on these concerns, covering these areas. For transport, during certain peak days of cross-boundary travel, can we spread out the passenger flow? That would be a major challenge. And for the places for cross-boundary coaches to pick up and drop off passengers in the future, can we ensure smooth experience for those travelers taking the coaches? That would be a public concern. All that means we have to continuously enhance the transport infrastructure and enhancements, and this, while we can set aside space for ride-hailing vehicles to make sure we can spread out the travelers in an orderly way. For the new Huanggang port operation, the government should explain how things work. We should set aside enough time and conduct thorough stress tests and drills to make sure that the new Huanggang port will operate smoothly once its operational is so submitted.
Professor Priscilla Leung, Deputy President, I speak in support of the Huanggang Port, Hong Kong Port Area Bill. The bill implements what is authorized by the central authorities of the Hong Kong SAR government to set up the Hong Kong port area at the redeveloped Huanggang port. It is a necessary legal step. It is also part of the constitutional order under one country, two systems. The administration has referred to the Hong Kong port area of Shenzhen Bay ports practices in setting out relevant provisions, as well as setting out the jurisdiction of the Hong Kong courts to be applied to the Hong Kong port area. And if you look at the bill, it is quite a thick bill, and you can see in the explanatory notes or explanatory memorandum, it talks about two important documents. One, the decision of the Standing Committee of the 14th National People's Congress, as well as the official reply of the State Council concerning the agreement of the commissioning of the Hong Kong port area. And we should also look at the preamble. In the Shenzhen Bay Port, Hong Kong Port Area Ordinance, this is also very important, and this is written really well. It is about supporting Hong Kong's better integration into and service of the overall national development. It is included in the preamble, and it is also an important part of the country's 15 five-year plan. There is a greater trend to enhance interactions as said in another part of the amble. I also want to talk about 2F in particular of the preamble. The term of the lease is to expire on 30th of June 2047. It is also included in the preamble of the Shenzhen Bay Port Hong Kong Port Area Ordinance. In 2022, President Xi openly pledged to the international society that one country, two systems will be maintained because this is beneficial to the country, to the people, to Hong Kong and Macau, and to the rest of the world. And we have here the date spelled out. It respects one country, two systems, and the law, but I believe this port will operate even after this. I looked at my previous speeches. In March 2021, we discussed co-location arrangement at the redeveloped Huanggang port. In fact, the co-location arrangement is not something new in the world. It's just that in 2017, when we talk about the commissioning of the express rail link, those who are active in politics had raised questions about the operations of the co-location arrangement. And in 2007, we have seen the Shenzhen Bay port operating quite successfully. There was not much dispute then. And in fact, we can see we have similar expressions in the two ordinances. We are leasing the area, and it is to be regarded as lying within Hong Kong, and the jurisdiction is under Hong Kong. And in English, it says as regards to the laws of Hong Kong. This is indisputable in law. In fact, facts are the most obvious, even though there was smearing in 2017 with the express rail link services. There was never jurisdictional dispute. There were never jurisdictional disputes. We had the two sides personnel operating smoothly alongside each other. Everything is transparent, and I'm definitely confident with the implementation of the colocation arrangement at the Huanggang port will be another success example in this era and for exercising full jurisdiction of Hong Kong SAR. Some members raised concerns whether there would be sufficient data coverage, whether we would have convenient transportation. We actually talked about this in previous discussions as well. I actually am quite confident that would not happen because we have achieved quite a success with the express rail link services. We have been able to protect our data well. I believe we can just operate from that experience. I also approve of the use of Wi-Fi. Before, at the Huanggang port, I believe this is a collective memory of elderly persons. They would just be carrying bags around, and they would often frequent the port. I just want the personnel of the port to make sure they would not have any trouble with the port's directions. With the redevelopment of the Huanggang port, we can have 500,000 square meters released for the development of the Northern Metropolis as well as Hong Kong Shenzhen INT Park. This will generate great economic benefits. Deputy President, I would like to say here in the next 6 months or a year, we need to really make good use of the land. We need to also collect data on how much time we have saved for travelers, how much land is released to generate economic benefits for the reference of the public. With the official reply of the State Council, it says that as early as 31st of July, we can commission the Huanggang port. But I agree with the Secretary's approach to be prudent. We want to make sure it is convenient for the public. We need to make sure there are smooth public transportation services. It is only after adequate testing and after we have proved everything successful that we will be able to meet the expectations of the public. With the new Huanggang port, it shows that we are making a milestone in the new tech era. It will also bring about a new chapter for Hong Kong and Shenzhen. Mr. Alan Chen. Thank you, Deputy President. I speak in support of the passage of the Huanggang Port Hong Kong Port Area Bill. The bill looks like laws that designate the port area and spells out the jurisdictional arrangement, but it actually demonstrates their being a further step in collaboration between Hong Kong and Shenzhen, as well as Hong Kong's integration into the country's development. According to a paper submitted by the Secretary for Security into the Council, the redeveloped Huanggang port is a key initiative to tie in with the country's strategy. What is important about the new Huanggang port is that it makes a breakthrough in clearance model. It will implement the co-location arrangement. It will also implement the collaborative inspection and joint clearance model. Travelers can complete clearance procedures for the two sides in a single counter, and it has greatly reduced clearance times from off-peak periods of 10 to 15 minutes and 20 to 40 minutes during peak periods to 5 minutes. We have 134 automated channels, 68 traditional manual counters. The design capacity is raised by fourfold to 200,000. And with the Northern Link spur line commissioning in 2034, the design capacity can be further increased to 300,000, so sixfold the current capacity. This is a significant breakthrough in promoting efficient clearance. What's more important is the positioning of the new Huanggang port is to be the only round-the-clock passenger land-based boundary control point. Like Shenzhen Bay Port, it is also used by, say, lorries. This is especially important for the development of the Northern Metropolis. Hong Kong only has to pay a nominal rent of $1,000 to unleash great land resources. The existing Lok Ma Chau control point site, as well as the Shenton public transport interchange, can be released for the use of Hong Kong. And for the development plan of the Shenton Technopole, it spells out how we can make use of different models to develop innovation and technology using the existing Lok Ma Chau boundary control point site as well as the Shenton site to generate actual economic benefits. With the Northern Link spur line being connected to the new Huanggang port, the loop, the Shenton Technopole, and the port will be connected. It will facilitate the mobility of personnel, families, that will promote nighttime economy. It will create greater value for development. I support the bill, but I do also have some suggestions for comprehensiveness. I think at the very beginning, we need to have proper connections to the port. The Northern Link spur line will only be commissioned in 2034. Before that, buses and other vehicles will be important commute options. With the latest information from the administration, we will have 7 franchise buses, 6 minibus, as well as some cross-boundary and taxi services. I think what's important is to make sure to provide buffer areas for pickup of passengers by buses so that buses don't have to go round the port to carry passengers again, and there may be congestion in the interim. It will be more efficient for buses so that they don't have to leave the port, and it will reduce waiting time for travelers. There should also be specific clearance facilities for in-car or vehicle personnel. The building already has that. And general travelers would have to go to the departure hall to complete clearance procedures. I urge the administration to publicize the arrangements. For in-vehicle personnel, some of them will undergo clearance procedures in the vehicle So which individuals should go to the departure hall, which individuals should stay in the vehicle, we should make that clear to prevent confusion. In future, we'll have closer economic ties between the two sides. I suggest the administration earmark space for expansion in future. I believe in future we will have the smaller cars take advantage of the Huanggang port more, including those traveling to Hong Kong under the arrangement of southbound travel for Guangdong vehicles. We also need to cater to the needs of commercial visitors, high-frequency visitors, as well as visitors accompanied by elderly persons. We can probably have dedicated channels. I think with high-end visitors, they would have limousines and they may be able to stay in the vehicles for clearance. Why don't we allow elderly persons and pregnant women to stay in vehicles also to provide more convenience to them? The Hong Kong port will be a round-the-clock passenger land-based boundary control point. In future, we should allow vehicles traveling under the southbound travel for Guangdong vehicles arrangement to make use of Huanggang port. We now have the arrangements expanded to Shenzhen, Dongguan, and Huizhou, the three cities. It can be beneficial to visitors, but for these three cities residents, they would have to go round and take the Hong Kong Zhuhai Macau Bridge, and it would take an additional 2 hours. I hope with the operations of Huanggang's port developing, we should include Huanggang port as an option to provide greater convenience for travelers from Shenzhen, Dongguan, and Huizhou to come to Hong Kong. If they can make use of Huanggang port, which is much closer to them, I believe we'll have many more visitors coming from these three cities. I also suggest that we work with the mainland to explore the application of contactless clearance to enhance efficiency of clearance procedures. Right now, for the mainland, we have facial recognition, but fingerprint authentication is still required. There is room for improvement for efficiency, and I don't know, some may lick their fingers before they have their fingerprints scanned, and we would have to disinfect the devices before we allow other people to go through. With clearance time, with contactless clearance, we may be able to reduce clearance time from 5 minutes to even a shorter time. And in fact, in Huanggang Way control point, we already have a walk detection system. Can we make use of that? I believe it is even more reliable than facial recognition. I think we can test out contactless clearance applications so that we can maybe even have 1 minute clearance. Deputy President, I believe the bill is greatly beneficial, which is why it deserves our support. I would like to praise the efforts of the Secretary and his team in communicating with the mainland authorities, as well as the completion of scrutiny of the bill. I hope the administration will heed my suggestions that I mentioned earlier. I believe the new Huanggang port will definitely facilitate Hong Kong's integration into the Greater Bay Area and be a new starting point for contactless clearance. Thank you.
Mr. Gary Chen. Mr. Deputy, I rise to speak in support of the Huanggang Port Hong Kong Port Area Bill. This bill intends to provide the basis, legal basis for the co-location, and this is also a manifestation of the cooperation between the LegCo and the administration. We hope that this can be commissioned and opened as soon as possible. Now, with this bill, in the process of bringing about this bill, the central authority support is also very important. The central authorities are very concerned our well-being, and they recognize the aspiration for greater ease in the BCP. This collaborative inspection and joint clearance is also an institutional innovation. Now, at the moment we have to queue up twice between Hong Kong and Shenzhen, and under the new system there will be collaborative inspection and joint clearance. Things that will be combined, and people will not have to queue up once, have the travel documents checked once. Like member said, the clearance time will be shortened significantly from 30 minutes to 5. This will provide a significant convenience to the travelers. The DAB has always been making recommendations regarding the ease of travel. I'm glad that the administration has taken on board some of the recommendations, like co-location, collaborative inspection, and joint clearance. And also, I thank the administration for the new measures regarding the clearance arrangement. At Huanggang port, in particular those living in Monshan, Taipo, Pak Shek Kok areas, they can only use buses. Right now, we can see that public transport will become available. So this direct access will mean a quick deal to the residents. Now this is, the most convenient port would be Lo Wu. If they want to go to other BCPs, they have to change transport. Now with this new transport arrangement for Pak Shek Kok and Taipo residents, this is really a good thing. Now for the new Huanggang port, in terms of arrangement, it has achieved a lot of progress, but there is also room for improvement, like the joint inspection for passengers and vehicles. If people don't have to get out of their vehicles and they are going through the immigration, it would certainly galvanize the tourism sector. There will be more high-end travelers to Hong Kong. I think the members of the public would like to enjoy this kind of convenience. We can see that at the BCP, if we have to get out of the vehicle and go to the clearance hall for custom clearance, it would be inconvenient for the senior folks and the disabled. This will also create barriers. People will have to be stuck waiting for the vehicles after they're done with the clearance, and the efficiency will be compromised. With the northbound travel of Hong Kong vehicles and southbound travel for Guangdong vehicles, more and more vehicles will be coming to Hong Kong. We have the designated ports. I don't rule out the possibility that this will also be done through the Huanggang port. If we can have the joint inspection of passengers and vehicles, people don't have to be wasting time going through the customs. So I hope that the Secretary will make representation with the mainland so that we can have this arrangement put in place to enhance the efficiency. I also like to take this up with the Secretary here. Now, he has given me the undertaking. Last year, when we talked about the Huanggang port, the DAB made the recommendation that we should have the one vehicle, multiple ports arrangement, meaning that the same vehicle can use different BCPs for the sake of convenience. Now, the vehicles have designated ports to go through when they go into the mainland. Now, because of the licenses, they have to make a detour to go to other ports. Can we achieve one vehicle, multiple ports? Now, the Secretary said that there is an opportunity arising from the Huanggang port that this can be considered, because the capacity compared with previously is much bigger. We can handle 15,000 vehicle trips per day. Now, can we consider at the non-peak hours implement this idea of a single vehicle, multiple port arrangement to facilitate the northbound vehicles to make it convenient for them. They can save the fuel, they can save time, and there are lots of advantages. The Huanggang port is much bigger and much better. If we can achieve this idea of one vehicle, multiple port arrangement, this will certainly enhance the advantages of the Huanggang port, and this will also ease the congestion in other ports. Mr. Secretary, remember what you said. Now, by the time this is up and running, I hope that you will give some thought to this idea again. Madam President, this is not only a modernized port, this is also an important infrastructure in our effort to integrate into the overall development of our country. This will foster the interflow between Hong Kong and Shenzhen and inject more impetus to foster long-term development of Hong Kong. I support the bill. Mr. Kingsley Wong. Madam President, I'm pleased to be part of this scrutiny process. How Hong Kong can integrate into the overall development of our country. This is something dear to my heart, that we can have closer cooperation in terms of INT. Northern Metropolis is developing rapidly. We have this collaborative inspection and joint clearance. People will need to go through one gate to fulfill the arrangement. People don't have to get on and off the coaches, and the clearance time will be shortened from 30 minutes to 5, and the design throughput will be 200,000 or 300,000 at its peak. There would be space available to expand the facilities. The Huanggang port is the main gateway in the GPA. It is playing a significant role. We have the Northern Link spur line, which will be put in place, linking up with the East Rail and the Tuen Ma line. On the other hand, we have the Shenzhen underground linking up with the system. This is providing a very good 1 hour living circle. The Huanggang port is also leveraging technology for custom clearance. It is saving manpower and enhancing efficiency. I hope that this collaborative inspection and joint clearance will be the benchmark that can be replicated in other ports. We conducted a visit to Chongqing since 2018 in accordance with the State Council's reform plan. They have combined one single lane for the CIQ, and there is only one check for the clearance. For cargo, there is only one single declaration and one inspection. The Huanggang port will have the 5-party inspection. In one fell swoop, they will be looking or checking the information. The details can be transmitted to the Shenzhen frontier station, the customs, and the Hong Kong Customs, Excise, and Immigration. With this mode, I hope this will become a benchmark that can be extended to other BCPs. I'd like to make one point here. A couple of years down the line, it would be a very accessible point. People would enjoy the ease of travel through this Huanggang port. Tourism sector, the hospitality trade will enjoy a lot of opportunities. The government should communicate with the stakeholders and turn these challenges into opportunities. With these words, I support the bill and set up this Hong Kong port area in the Huanggang port so that this port can be up and running as soon as possible. People can enjoy this good port sooner rather than later.
Mr. Brave Chen. Thank you. I also thank the Secretary. We fully support the early passage of the Hong Kong Port Area Bill. We support connectivity between Hong Kong and Shenzhen. We support fostering GBA integration. We want both speed and steadiness in the opening of the new Huanggang port. We want people to experience speed and get a good experience. But in the short term, we have to gradually ramp up our infrastructure. DAB electrical members and also NPC delegates visited the area twice. We all know President Xi Jinping attaches great importance to the Greater Bay Area. When President Xi was visiting Guangzhou, he urged sustained effort. He also called for connectivity in infrastructure, collaboration in technology. So there's soft connectivity. And also creating a quality living environment. Both the 15th Five-Year Plan and the Chief Executive's policy address also stress this point. On commissioning the new Huanggang port, there will be test after test to be done by both Shenzhen and Hong Kong. I found this online. So this is the artist's impression. Of course, the most reliable source will come from Mr. Chris Tank. So the online images are futuristic. It's like some sort of space station. This is what you see above ground. There are also several stories underground. More than 6 stories underground. There will be MTR, the Shenzhen Metro. Will there be express rail links nearby? And then maybe underground car park. So that's what the port will look like in its entirety. So that will offer greater speed and efficiency for people to get around. And that will bring in more mainland tourists. We will also be able to travel to the mainland with greater ease. We went there twice. Before we get there, before we get to the full form of the port, we have to take things one at a time. We all want to see what the port looks like, but in the early days, we have to brace ourselves. It's just like the express rail link, and before the plane is in the air, they may go slower than your regular transport. So we will have to give it time, and we will have to gradually enhance the facility. With the Secretary's leadership, we will achieve better and better results. The President also led us on visits. Now, this new port will feature collaborative inspection and joint clearance. So you go to a gate to show your document. The process will be over in as soon as 5 minutes. But before we get to the full commissioning, we will have to give it time. It's just like the contactless clearance at the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge. In the early days, only 2 lanes were open for the trial. So this port will only get better over time. Now, on the multifaceted transport linkage and jurisdictional issues, so people wonder whether this will compromise 2 systems. Look at West Kowloon, Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge, and the Shenzhen Bay Port. The law and regulation are well established. Under one country, 2 systems, Hong Kong is doing well. Basically, there won't be any area in the law prone to legal challenges. There's a bond between people in Hong Kong and the mainland. The DAB also visited the site time and again to check on the progress. The works are underway. We're now trying to enact the law so that we will have time to do more tests before the port opens, just like what happens with the Kai-Tak Sports Park. So before the opening, you do test after test to make sure everything is reliable once the facility does open, and that will meet public expectations, and that's the optimal approach. We also want people to support this. So we proceed swiftly in enacting the legislation so that this futuristic port can open soon. Mr. Eric Yim. Thank you, Madam President. All eyes are on this land port, the new Huanggang port. On the 26th of June, the NPCSC endorsed a decision to authorize the HKSAR to exercise jurisdiction over the Hong Kong port area and the related extended area. And then on the 8th of July, the State Council issued an official reply stipulating the area, the Hong Kong port area. The Hong Kong port area will be commissioned at 0 hours of the 31st of July 2026. And then the bill was gazetted. Yesterday, the bill was scrutinized by the Legislative Council. This shows the central government's support for Hong Kong's integration into the mainland. It also points to the executive-led model in legislation. This also goes to show the strength of good governance. So round-the-clock access and collocation, those elements define the new Huanggang port, and that shows our deep integration has reached a new stage. The clearance time will be slashed to 5 minutes. And this will be good for the 1 hour living circle in the Greater Bay Area. This will foster the flow of goods on promoting the coordinated and integrated development of Hong Kong and Shenzhen. Land will be freed up for INT purposes, and that will drive the continuous development of our tech sector. The land freed up will also be great for the future development of the northern metropolis. The new Huanggang port will be good for our country and for Hong Kong. It will contribute to people's well-being. I hope Shenzhen and Hong Kong can work closely together, and we can find innovative ways to team up. Let's make greater use of smart clearance and inspection facilities so that the port area will become operational smoothly, and we can offer a smoother experience for travelers. I so submit I support this bill's passage.
Ms. Judy Chen. Thank you, President. I speak on behalf of the New People's Party in support of the bill. The State Council earlier this month gave an official reply giving its authorization that starting from 0000 hours on 31st of July this year, the Hong Kong port area of the Huanggang port will be commissioned, and the laws of Hong Kong are to apply to the Hong Kong port area. We have the responsibility to complete legislative work locally as soon as possible. The New People's Party believes this bill is not only pressing but has strategic significance. It is a key step towards integrated development of Hong Kong and Shenzhen. The positioning of the new Huanggang port is around the clock passenger land-based boundary control point. It will also implement the collocation, collaborative inspection, joint clearance, as well as a 5-party inspection model for citizens and visitors alike. Before, when they went through clearance at Lok Ma Chau or the old Huanggang port, they had to go through different processes. The fastest it would take half an hour, and now with the new model, the clearance time can be reduced to 5 minutes. The design capacity of the new port can go up to 300,000 per day. The port provides great convenience. It is also a testament to breakthroughs of efficient clearance models. We often talk about visitor experience being important, and the new Huanggang port would really be beneficial for that purpose, especially during festive occasions or when mega events are held. We're trying to become a mega events capital, right? And we do want to have more mega events to attract visitors. But on festive occasions or days when mega events are held, we see long queues at boundary control points. With the new Huanggang port, with it being in operation round the clock, as well as the clearing process only taking 5 minutes, we'll have greater efficiency to clear the crowds, and I think we will not see instances where they would be stranded at the control point again. It will enhance our image as an international tourism city. With the formation of a 1-hour living circle between Shenzhen and Hong Kong, for visitors living in other GBA cities, they can come to Hong Kong at different hours for consumption, tourism, or even to do business. It will definitely boost the local economy. On top of tourism and consumption, the new Huanggang port is important to the long-term development of the city. We are pressing full steam ahead with the development of the Northern Metropolis. We have also developments like the new Santin Technopole as well as the Hong Kong Shenzhen INT Park being important platforms for INT development. There is a need to facilitate the flow of personnel and other factors of production. Good clearance arrangement will greatly support them. The Northern Link spur line will be directly connected to the new Huanggang port. With the new port and the Northern Link spur line will achieve synergy, and there is direct connection of the INT hubs on both sides. It will facilitate the flow of factors of production such as personnel, resources, as well as data. We can combine the industrial advantages of the mainland and our professional advantages, breaking through existing barriers. The Huanggang port will be crucial to the development of the city. It will also be greatly beneficial to the people of Hong Kong and Shenzhen. Therefore, the New People's Party fully supports the passage of the bill so that the HKSAR government can work with the Shenzhen authorities to commence testing of the operations of the Huanggang port. And yesterday, actually, some members raised concerns about emergency drills. We want to make sure the port is operated in a safe and smooth manner so as to tap into our future development opportunities for the high quality development of Hong Kong and Shenzhen. I so submit. Thank you, Mr. Tam Chen Kwok. President, I speak in support of the passage of the bill. After the end of last month with the authorization of the exercising of jurisdiction by Hong Kong SAR of the Hong Kong port area, we have now the bill to be scrutinized by the Legislative Council. It really shows the staunch support of the country for Hong Kong, as well as efficient collaboration between the executive and the legislature. It also shows we are moving very quickly ahead with a major initiative of the country. The new Huanggang port will be one of the hub ports in the Greater Bay Area, with it providing round-the-clock clearance. That is passenger-only port. Before, people would have to go through ports that practice separation location arrangement. They have to queue twice. They have to get in and out of vehicles. With the implementation of a collaborative inspection and joint clearance model at the new port, people won't have to do that anymore. And with frequent exchanges between people of Hong Kong and Shenzhen, often we see queues during weekends and long holidays. People have to wait for hours. The crowds may not be fully dispersed even at the end of the operational hours of the control points. The administration has actively improved the arrangements since Lunar New Year 2024, but to truly cater for the demand, there is a need to make breakthroughs institutionally and technologically. We have the new Huanggang port making use of the collaborative inspection and joint clearance model, as well as automated channels to provide a more convenient and efficient experience of clearance for visitors. We hope that the arrangements can be extended to other land-based boundary control points in future, such as a shuttlecock control point, so as to enhance efficiency and reduce reliance on manpower. We should also have round-the-clock clearance at more ports, just like Macau. With the administration pressing full speed ahead with internal facilities construction of the port, we should also expedite the construction of transportation facilities, as the Northern Link spur line will only be commissioned in 2034. During the 7 to 8 years in the interim, the administration should enhance land-based transportation arrangements. I understand that at the beginning of the commissioning of the Huanggang port, we already have 7 franchise bus routes, but it would require citizens to make transfers at the Santin public transport interchange. I suggest at Kamshan Road or Shenshui Station, major transportation hubs like these will have direct bus connections to the new Huanggang port. There should also be airport bus routes to facilitate visitors going to the Hong Kong International Airport. We have been promoting boundary economy, and I note this Shenzhen side has already been preparing for that, to have shops open to seize this opportunity, and I think we should follow suit. In fact, the Shenzhen side, they would connect to MTR line number 7. It will connect to different business circles in the vicinity. I think we should follow suit with regard to local circumstances. We want to make sure that we bring in visitors just like Shenzhen. We want to channel visitors to not only consume in the nearby areas, but also to other places. We should also set up duty-free shops as well as restaurants that sell characteristic food of Hong Kong, milk tea, egg tarts. We can also allow visitors to buy souvenirs at the shops. I so submit speaking in support of the bill.
Mr. Wu Yingpeng. Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Secretary. The Huanggang port is something of concern to the authorities. This port is an upgrade of the system. This is also a new practice under one country, two systems to facilitate Hong Kong's integration into the overall development of our country. At the constitutional level, the new Huanggang port testifies the vitality of one country, two systems. With the authorization of the NPCSC, the Hong Kong port area can be accommodated into the Huanggang port. And in terms of institution, this port will be a 24-hour passenger land BCP, practicing collaborative inspection and joint clearance. People will only need to queue up once for one single inspection before they will complete the clearance. This is truly efficient and convenient. Also, we enjoy the full jurisdiction there. Madam President, this is a port that people anticipate. We should complete all the coordination work. I thank Mr. thank the Secretary for doing so much preparatory work. I think we have to make this a success. I've got 3 points to share. First, we should have a port economy and benefiting different industries. Now, this is a really convenient, efficient port. This is also a port for the northern metropolis. At the Hong Kong port area or in the neighboring northern metropolis, the government can put commercial and tourism nodes there, maybe tax-free kind of commercial hubs to benefit tourism. We should also big data to put in place a good arrangement for the main holidays. There would be a huge volume of passengers. The government should learn a lesson from the crush in other BCPs. We should use technology to make preparation ahead of the major festivals. There should be enough personnel deployed, and the connectivity with the port should also be arranged to make sure that during peak period, like holidays, people will still enjoy good experience. Third, we should consider the possibility of contactless clearance to facilitate the tech talents transfer. There are INT talents using the port that should be green channels to facilitate the tech talents, and also the major factors to go through the Huanggang port more easily. With these words, I support the bill. Dr. Chuaning, Madam President, the redevelopment of the Huanggang port is an important project. It is also an important engine for the northern metropolis development. The 15th five-year plan is a beginning, and the Standing Committee of NPCSC decided to authorize the jurisdiction for Hong Kong port area. The State Council also issued an official reply for this to be commissioned on the 31st of July 2026. The Hong Kong SL government has the obligation to complete the legislative process as soon as possible to provide the legal basis for co-location. The administration has been fast-tracking the legislative work for the port. The LegCo has convened extra meetings to tie in with that. So it shows our determination and efficiency to take forward this exercise. And that there will be co-location arrangement on the basis of the Shenzhen Bay port, which has been serving us very well. So we are all in support of this. And this is also a livelihood project. The members of the public have been anticipating this eagerly for some time. With more flow of people and vehicles, there is an increasing demand from the commercial vehicles. That this is going to be a very important 24-passenger land BCP, practicing collaborative inspection and joint clearance. This is a historic breakthrough. The clearance time will be shortened from 30 minutes to 5, and the design throughput will be increased from 40,000 to 200,000 passenger trips by the time the Northern Link spur line is commissioned, and it will be increased to 300,000. This will improve the experience of travel. I urge the administration to enhance the cross-boundary transport management. There should be cooperation with the mainland authorities to facilitate the one vehicle, multiple port arrangement. There can be an appointment system to use the data to obviate the arrangement to make vehicles use one single designated port. This will enhance the efficiency and also alleviate the choke point during the holidays. It does have the sophisticated hardware And I urge the administration to take advantage of digital network to break away from the designated port arrangement so that the vehicles can freely choose the BCPs to travel through, and this will alleviate the burden on different BCPs and make it more convenient. People can save up on the energy and the fuel. The commissioning of the Huanggang port will facilitate high quality development. It is connected with the Hetao Science and Technology Innovation Cooperation Zone, and this will help us to achieve the 1 hour living circle in the GBA. This will also facilitate the flow of people, capital between the two places. The Hetao area can certainly serve as a golden engine. The government should take advantage of the convenience here to take forward the development of the Northern Metropolis and to facilitate the visitors to come to Hong Kong and to enjoy consumption in Hong Kong. We should really alleviate the hardship on the part of the residents and enhance the quality of life. Overall, with the passage of this bill, I hope that the administration will activate this as soon as possible. I urge the administration, the police and immigration to coordinate and to conduct drills and anti-terrorism kind of drills to make sure that there would be better cooperation to build up the area so that this can be up and running as soon as possible. Thank you.
Mr. Kitson Yang. Thank you, Madam President. The redevelopment of the Huanggang port is not just a key project in the integration of Shenzhen and Hong Kong, it's also the integration of Hong Kong into national development in action. This bill, the Huanggang Port Hong Kong Port Area Bill, provides solid legal basis for the Hong Kong Port Area in the form of local legislation. This marks the home stretch for the new port. Back in 2007, there was the Hong Kong Port Area of Shenzhen Bay Port Ordinance. We adopted that model. There are three key areas of the bill. First, declaring a certain part of the Huanggang Port as the Hong Kong Port Area. Second, applying Hong Kong laws to the Hong Kong Port Area and also setting out the jurisdiction of Hong Kong's courts. Third, extending the right and obligations to the extended area. The Shenzhen Bay Port has been commissioned for almost 20 years. The operation has been smooth, free of any major legal challenge. In June this year, the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress authorized Hong Kong to run the Hong Kong Port Area. And then on the July 8th, the State Council also issued an official reply stating that the port will be commissioned at 0 hours on the 31st of July this year. As the Secretary for Security said, this bill contains no novel or contentious provision. Mr. Scott Leung and I have been following the issue of ease of navigation for ports. We have been calling for modernizing our ports. We should use new clearance methods such as collaborative inspection and joint clearance to free up manpower. The new Huanggang port is the best place to implement this vision. Upon redevelopment, the new Huanggang port will adopt the new approach. Travelers queue up once, they show their documents once, and then they are free to go. The overall clearance time will be slashed to 5 minutes, down from 30 minutes, and that will make life easier. The port will also be able to accommodate 200,000 travelers per day. It can be further raised to 300,000 travelers a day, and this can foster the flow of people in the GBA. This can foster this 1 hour living circle in the GBA. We all know during holidays, many Hong Kong residents head north. So a capacity of 300,000 travelers a day is crucial. Only then can we facilitate movement between Hong Kong and the mainland. We will no longer see long queues. People won't have to be stuck in the port for hours. The new Huanggang port will be operational 24/7. For people, students and workers who have to commute across the boundary, this port will be good news. I hope we can replicate this experience to other ports so that more people can benefit from the arrangement. The bill is built on the experience of the Shenzhen Bay port. That experience is tried and tested, and we're also adopting this new approach of collaborative inspection and joint inspection. When the new Huanggang port is opened, we will see greater integration between Hong Kong and Shenzhen, and that will bring fresh impetus for our integration into national development. I submit C15 members, and I support this bill. Professor Alex Fan, I fully support this bill. Other members have spoken on shortening the clearance time and the capacity. I don't propose to go into those points again. I want to focus on the legal basis, a transit for international travelers, and enforcement. This bill is the Huanggang Port Hong Kong Port Area Bill. It's all modeled on the Shenzhen Bay Port Area's approach. On the 26th of June this year, the MPCSC made a decision authorizing us to run the Hong Kong Port Area, and then on the 8th of July, the State Council issued a reply setting out the extent of the Hong Kong Port Area. There's huge efficiency in the process. This shows the central government attaches importance to Hong Kong's work in one country, two systems. So we have our country support. We also bring into play our own legal system. On law drafting, our government takes a meticulous approach. Clauses 9 and 10 extends existing rights and obligations to the Hong Kong Port Area. This ensures that for court warrants, court orders, and also the qualifications of professionals remain valid in the Hong Kong Port Area. This ensures continuity in enforcement. Clause 11 also builds flexibility into the system. By showing respect for the spirit of contract, the bill is comprehensive. The old Lok Ma Chau BCP will be decommissioned. The land will be freed up. The land will be developed into INT facilities in phases. I hope the government can update us on the specific timetable, and I hope this can tie in with the Northern Metropolis. We should not leave the Lok Ma Chau land idle for too long. Now, for the new port, we will adopt collaborative inspection and joint inspection. This will slash clearance time. Clearance efficiency tops the chart among all 6 land BCPs. This will make two-way travel easier. This will also give global travelers here for transit and looking to go to the mainland a new option. We should step up collaboration with the mainland. We should design multi-destination tourism products. We should turn the port into an attraction. Overseas travelers going to other mainland cities of the GBA via Hong Kong will showcase the openness of the GBA. Hong Kong is the only common law jurisdiction of the region, and we are aligned with global practice. We should serve as a gateway and a bridge, which should help the GBA to integrate into the global tourism and trade network. There will be more travelers at the port, so for the enforcement and health authorities, new challenges will arise. The support needs to be in place for public health. The Department of Health should monitor the infectious diseases, and they should review the screening arrangement. They should work with the disease control authorities of Shenzhen by setting up real-time communication systems. Even for those staying at the port for a brief period, we should not neglect this area. We should also enhance the manpower for customs, immigration, and other law enforcement officers so that we look after the enforcement needs and we should guard against smuggling and money laundering. After the bill is enacted, there will be subsidiary legislation to be made under the negative vetting mechanism covering closed area management, provision of telecom services, among others. I also urge the government to brief the relevant panels on the specifics of the subsidiary legislation after the bill is passed so that members can make constructive suggestions. The new Huanggang port, along with the Northern Link spur line, will have to go hand in hand. Once the infrastructure is in place, we can lower business costs. Hong Kong will become more competitive. This bill is a piece of infrastructure. It's also a key step in Hong Kong's effort to consolidate its role in the GBA. I'm grateful for the central government's long-standing support for Hong Kong, and I also thank the SCR government for their work so that we can make solid progress and benefit the public. So submit to support the bill.
Mr. Andrew Yao. President, I speak in support of the Huanggang Port Hong Kong Port Area Bill. The co-location arrangement was first implemented at the Shenzhen Bay Port in 2007 and at the Express Rail Link Station in West Kowloon Commission in 2018. We also implemented the co-location arrangement. It is well received by citizens and visitors alike. The new Huanggang Port will make use of similar arrangements. It will also make use of, on top of that, the collaborative inspection and joint clearance model that will greatly reduce the clearance time to 5 minutes and enhance efficiency. The traveling between Hong Kong and Shenzhen is now a commonplace thing, and the Northern Metropolis will be a core engine for growth in terms of us developing as an innovative international INT center, international hub for high caliber talents. We need to make sure we have connectivity in terms of hardware before we can introduce more industries and talent. With the Sentin Technopole, the Loop, and Hong Shui Q Industrial Park currently under construction, it will provide approximately 500,000 new job opportunities. With more frequent exchanges between Shenzhen and Hong Kong, those working in the Northern Metropolis may need to frequently commute between Hong Kong and Shenzhen. The round-the-clock clearance services will provide convenience to the talents, professors, students, and residents traveling between the two sites. And the Northern Link spur line will help create synergy between the Huanggang port and other different ports to have a comprehensive transportation network. I hope the administration can have the new Huanggang port be a demonstration zone for other ports. We should actively liaise with mainland authorities to see if we can introduce the model of collaborative inspection and joint clearance or even contactless clearance at existing ports. We should also make sure there is a comprehensive public transportation network as well as ancillary facilities, cross-boundary vehicles, as well as parking spaces so that the Huanggang port can truly become a livable and business-friendly cross-boundary living circle. Thank you. Dr. Chen Han-pan. President, I speak in support of this bill. The Huanggang port is one of the core ports, and it is the only round-the-clock port for Shenzhen. It is not to the east, it is not to the west, it is right in the middle of Shenzhen. It is very convenient. Before it implemented a separate location arrangement, it is heavily reliant on go bus services. We're not really tapping into the potential of the Huanggang port. We have great expectations of the redeveloped Huanggang port, But before commissioning, we need to do many tests, stress tests, tests for transportation connections. I believe the Bureau, upon passage of the bill, will have much work to do. I would want to say thank you to those of the Security Bureau in advance. With the collaborative inspection and joint clearance model, I have found out more about the arrangements during my previous visit to the new Huanggang port. I believe the arrangements are very convenient. Can we extend the arrangements to other ports? I think Shenzhen Bay port is where we can test such arrangements further, because Shenzhen Bay port is not connected by a bridge. And such conditions are not found in other ports. We also want to test out some contactless clearance applications. We have seen great developments in the relevant applications. With the collaborative inspection and joint clearance model, it is something of a breakthrough. I very much support this. With the new Huanggang port future prosperity, we need to make sure there are good transportation connections. If the design capacity is 200,000 and we don't have any railway connections, if we have to serve many, there will be great transportation pressure. If we have to rely on buses, cross-boundary coaches and taxis, there will be a heavy flow of vehicles. Planning is definitely important. People, of course, want direct bus routes right where they live to get to the Huanggang port, but if we are going to have that at every district, it will not be feasible either. So I note the transportation is trying to have buses that go to different districts, but they would mainly rely on railway connections to get to Yunlong and Shengshui, and there will be a short bus connection in between that will alleviate pressure on the roads of Hong Kong. I support this approach. I hope in future with the short-term connections, they should be very frequent to provide greater convenience to the people. I want to talk in particular about private cars. For buses, for people who will take buses to ports, there are also a number of people who want to just drive in their private cars to the Huanggang port. We do have some car parks or temporary car parks that will provide somehow parking spaces for cars to park. I understand that the administration is undergoing land resumption, but Mr. Yuming and I have observed that there are less and less parking spaces, and we may only have 500 additional parking spaces in the area. With the new Huanggang port commissioning, 500 parking spaces should not be enough for what we have in demand. The administration should have reasonable planning to introduce car parks, specifically multi-story car parks or smart car parks, so that citizens can park their cars in the area or they can travel to the Huanggang port by buses. We want to make sure we have this in mind in planning. I think we should start early with such planning as well. If people drive there and found out they can't park there, it can be very inconvenient. I hope the relevant departments can plan early on and make suitable arrangements. I would also want to talk about cross-boundary private cars at Huanggang port. Right now, every private car will be designated a port for travel. Some Shenzhen based, some Liantang, some after midnight can make use of the Huanggang port. Because the Huanggang port was undergoing development in the past 10 years, we did not have new licenses issued. So many of the licenses were from before. There weren't a lot of them. I hope in future the Security Bureau, after commissioning of the Huanggang port, can explore with the mainland authorities to see how we can make good use of the new Huanggang ports to make sure we can have a car selecting a port of their choice to come to and from Hong Kong. I believe this will facilitate business travel between Hong Kong and Shenzhen. We should have regard to the actual circumstances. With this arrangement, it should prevent Hong Kong and Shenzhen vehicles from traveling through a roundabout route, wasting their time on the roads and causing a heavier burden on the roads on the two sides. We have actually proposed this many times to the mainland. We actually even wrote to the MPC. I hope we can make good use of the opportunity of commissioning of the Huanggang port to discuss how we are to allocate private car quotas in future for the Huanggang port. I hope the Huanggang port will bring about great opportunities and facilitate diversified development of society. Lastly, I want to convey this message to citizens. Some are worried that with the commissioning of the new Huanggang port, more people would want to go to the mainland for consumption. Some say there will be more coming from the mainland to Hong Kong. I think it can go both ways. If Hong Kong is attractive, there will be more people coming. We cannot really stop people from going to the mainland. I think we need to reflect on where we have an edge. We want to make sure to provide policy support for SMEs to develop and transform. I hope the SAR government can come up with different ways. We'll work together on this. I so submit.
係主席。
Ms. Julia Lau. Madam President, Ben has already taken words out of my mouth. Obviously, I am in support of the Hong Kong Port Area Bill. Instead of opening this and then subject this to review, I think it's far better for us to put in place the transport linkage, the Fanling Shengshui areas, and they're not well served. Second, about 6 months ago, the Kai-Tak Stadium, which accommodate 50,000 people, and we had 30,000 people joining in the trial run. I think we might wish to consider, instead of using the computer model to test the flow or a lack of it, maybe perhaps we can also consider using a real life scenario to test the system, and so the people can give their insight regarding the arrangement. And that will certainly fulfill the function of this particular port. Mr. Dominic Lee. Madam President, as the travel between Hong Kong and Shenzhen is getting more frequent, the waiting time is very long at the BCPs during festive seasons. They are really chock-a-block full of people. The capacity simply cannot catch up with the cross-boundary travel demand. The central authorities, the Hong Kong administration and the Shenzhen government are taking forward this Huanggang port redevelopment. And by making use of the collaborative inspection and joint clearance, we will shorten the clearance time to a matter of 5 minutes. And the capacity can be as much as 200,000. This is something that the members of the public have been anticipating eagerly for a long time. And this is really a good undertaking. I am all in support of that. And within such a short space of time, they managed to pull off this complicated legislative work to pave the way for the commissioning of the port on the 31st of July. And this says a lot about the executive ability on the part of the government. That with the bill, it covers 4 aspects. I don't need to repeat them. Now, with this port coming into being, there are a couple of points I'd like to share with the Security Bureau. At the moment, at Shenzhen Bay Port, you have a committee which is a joint Hong Kong-Shenzhen coordination mechanism. In terms of customs clearance, if there are any issues cropping up, this will be coordinated. I'm sure that this will continue. Second, there should be more publicity and education. Madam Lau mentioned the Kai Tak Stadium. We did have a trial run, or more than one trial run. Huge amount of people would like to use this particular port. People who otherwise would not be using this port would be tempted to try this Huanggang port. And this will contribute to an overloading of this particular port. I hope that there would be a better education and publicity before the actual opening of the port. The MTRC, the bus operator can have more advertisement or publicity. People don't have to flock to the port at the very beginning. We should let them know about the arrangement. There can be some simulated videos for them to get a feel of the port, so that there would not be any chaos when it is actually opened up. There should be more personnel on hand to guide people along, to point them in the right direction. This, I hope, will be done. Second, we should take advantage of this new redeveloped port to put in place the one vehicle, multiple port arrangement. This is something that the New People's Party has been advocating. Now, what is strange is that at Lantang, the port will close at 10 p.m. And Huanggang, I mean, they can use Huanggang after midnight, and there would be a period. People cannot really make their way back from Shenzhen. This is a little bit strange. You have to wait or hang around for 2 hours in Shenzhen before you can go through Huanggang. I fully appreciate that in Shenzhen they do have a lot of considerations traffic wise, and it's something that Hong Kong wouldn't have any say over. But with this 2-hour window, can we seek to have this 2-hour window fulfilled? Finally, now this may fall outside the remit of the Security Bureau. Maybe you can do some coordinating. The TD has arranged for some feeder routes to the new port for the members of the public. There is a keen demand for the port capacity, and many people would like to travel to the new redeveloped Huanggang port, and you have to consider the capacity there. And I hope that the SB will, in collaboration with other bureaus, work on this. Now we have a port which has much better capacity, and it's no good for you not to have the feeder services taking people there. Madam President, people do pin for a high hope on this port. We are using collaborative inspection and joint clearance, and we do have a very good, robust legal foundation for this. And I hope that the administration will take on board our views, better publicity, one vehicle, multiple ports. Now, with these measures in place, the Huanggang port will certainly be a lot more efficient. We're fully in support of this bill, and we will assist the administration in its operation with concerted efforts. I'm sure that it will certainly bring advantages to Hong Kong. Does any other member wish to speak? If not, I call upon the Secretary for Security to reply, then the debate will come to a close. Secretary, first of all, on behalf of the Hong Kong SAR government, I'd like to thank the Council for its support for the legislative work on the Huanggang Port, Hong Kong Port Area Bill. By working together in a concerted effort, we will complete the local legislative process as soon as possible. On July 15th, the government submitted the bill to the Council for first and second readings and arranged for 4 briefing sessions to brief members on the bill and provide more information regarding the Huanggang port. I thank the President and Chairman of the House Committee, as well as all members, for their support. Just yesterday, the House Committee convened a special meeting to consider the scrutiny arrangement, and the committee then began scrutiny of the bill. In 4 hours' time, the scrutiny was completed. 80 members attending the meeting engaged in in-depth discussions in various pieces of subsidiary legislation relating to the operation of the Hong Kong port area, and they've also examined the bill clause by clause. Members posed a total of 63 questions, including 26 members asked questions during the policy discussion and 37 during the clause-by-clause scrutiny. A total of 120 questions and comments were raised, allowing me and my team to fully explain the provisions of the bill and provide clear explanations regarding the operation of the port. I also thank the President for granting approval, and to the Chairman of the House Committee and all members for supporting the administration's proposal to convene a special session today for the second reading debate and third reading. I'm also grateful to members for all the valuable comments made. The Huanggang Port Redevelopment Project is a key initiative by the SAR government to align with the National 15 Five-Year Plan, better integrate into and serve the country's overall development, and advance the infrastructure interconnectivity. At the same time, the Huanggang port will bring greater convenience in customs clearance, benefiting the public. First, the port will implement co-location, allowing travelers to complete entry and exit procedures for both regions at the same location, eliminating the need to take shuttle buses back and forth. Second, the redeveloped Huanggang port will be the first land BCP to implement the innovative collaborative inspection and joint clearance. When using the automatic channels, travelers will only need to queue up once, have their documents checked once, and to complete the immigration procedures. The clearance time will be significantly reduced from 30 minutes to 5. The port will also feature joint one-stop vehicle lanes where drivers can enter with their vehicles and, using an integrated information collection device, complete the collection of body temperature, travel documents, facial features, and fingerprint data in a single step for the 5-party inspection conducted by 5 different customs, immigration, and quarantine departments in Hong Kong and Shenzhen. Third, as the most important 24-hour land passenger boundary crossing point between Hong Kong and Shenzhen, the redesigned or the design capacity is 200,000 passenger trips per day, a significant increase from the current daily average of 40,000. Furthermore, upon the completion of the Northern Link spur line, it will increase to 300,000 per day, which will greatly benefit cross-boundary travel and two-way exchanges between the two places. With the support of the central government, the Standing Committee of the NPC adopted a decision at its meeting on the 26th of June, authorizing the Hong Kong SAR to exercise jurisdiction over the port area. Subsequently, on July 8th, the State Council issued an official reply confirming the specific coordinates and areas of the area and agreed that Hong Kong port area would commence operation, would be commissioned at midnight on July 31st. To give effect to the authorization, the government has the responsibility to complete the local legislative process before July 31st, including securing the passage of the bill as well as enacting subsidiary legislation on management of the Hong Kong port area as a closed area, the designation of detentions and facilities, and the public mobile radio communication services. These subsidiary legislation must also come into effect with simultaneously with the opening of the Hong Kong port area on July 31st. Members may comments regarding the port. I'd like to make some comments on this. Some members expressed concern about the preparatory work prior to the actual opening and also the timing. The early opening of the port is an objective shared by the two places. We are taking forward the development so that the port can be opened sooner rather than later. When the port is commissioned on the 31st of July, we will be taking action to conduct various trial operations and tests, and also the stress test, to make sure that the port's facilities would be sound and all the operations will be comprehensive and fully prepared. It's only when the port is safe and operational before we open this to the public. This will be the first one practicing collaborative inspection joint clearance. According to the design, the outbound authority will be collecting the facial features and the fingerprints for inspection. And it's only with the consent of the travelers and the drivers that the information will be transmitted to the inbound authority for inspection. Members can rest assured that the authorities will be matching the information against the system, and there is no question of sharing the data bank at all. When the Hong Kong port area is established, the Hong Kong law will be applicable to the port. To tackle the emergency incident, we will have the contingency measure. We will put priority on life saving. There will be the territorial principle that will be adopted to deal with the emergency issues. The relevant units will have the emergency mechanism. There will be organization of trials and drills and streamline the procedures to make sure that the rescue personnel will be able to handle the situation in an emergency in a swift manner. Members are also concerned about the traffic arrangement, the transport arrangement. The government has made detailed planning. The PTI in Huanggang will arrange for public transport services with 7 franchise bus routes, 6 minibus routes, and cross-boundary coaches. For the franchise buses, Instead of 3, they will be increased to 7, linking up with various different places. The TD will also enhance the short-haul feeder buses, allowing franchise buses and minibuses to achieve synergistic effect to provide the best possible convenience for the cross-boundary travelers. We will monitor the level of service and, depending on circumstances, make adjustment accordingly. The redeveloped port will be a closed area. Non-franchise buses or taxis or private cars cannot go in there. There are 500 car parks near Shantin to let people park their cars and take transport to the new Huanggang port. The Shantin PTI has already got the pick-up and drop-off points for the coaches. The TD will make arrangement for public transport services to link up with the Huanggang port area. I'm sure that will meet the needs arising from the early part of the opening of the Huanggang port area. In the vicinity, we will be identifying suitable places to designate public places, public parking places, and park and ride places. I'm sure members are concerned about the capacity of the transport network in the vicinity. At Loma Chao control area, there will be waiting area for public transport. Where necessary, we can arrange for vehicles to take people to the Huanggang port. Before the opening, the public transport operators will be arranged to conduct trials on site, and there will be sufficient stress test to be conducted to make sure that everything will be going smoothly upon opening. As to the communication, there will be a free public Wi-Fi network at the Hong Kong port area. I'm sure that will meet the needs of the public. We will conduct tests, and we will keep an eye on the situation and review the coverage and the level of service to make sure that the service will be in line with demand. The early passage of the bill to set up the Hong Kong port area will certainly facilitate all the preparatory work and create the right condition for the eventual opening of the port. Hong Kong and Shenzhen will be making preparation for the system trial and tests to make sure all the facilities and operational arrangement would be well prepared to make sure that the Huanggang port will be opened for the public as soon as possible. I urge members to support the bill. With passage of the bill, we will be gazetting the bill and, according to the procedures, put together all the relevant subsidiary legislation to make sure that they will be enforced in tandem with the commissioning of the port on 31st of July 2026. And this is a common aspiration of people on both sides. Together with the Shenzhen authorities, we will be taking this forward swiftly, and we'll work out the opening day to make announcement accordingly. Once again, my thanks to the Council. Since the introduction of the bill on the 15th of July, a lot of meetings have been convened and scrutiny has been conducted intensively. I'm grateful to the President, the Chair of the House Committee, and all members for working tirelessly for this important bill. And I also like to thank the Secretariat and all the civil servants responsible for this project who have been working tirelessly on the drafting and explaining of the bill so that we can complete the local legislative process as soon as possible. Thank you.
I now put the question to you that the Huanggang Port Hong Kong Port Area Bill be read the second time. Will members please proceed to vote? Members please press the present button. Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by a majority of the members present. I declare the motion passed. Huanggang Port Hong Kong Port Area Bill. This council now becomes committee of the whole